is Thursday. Sharky, Barney, we're having a conversation here right before the start of the show. Right before the start of something important.
Yeah.
You're having a conversation with somebody and you're like, well, we gotta pick this up.
We got to do something else.
Yeah, we gotta figure this out. Colson, Curtis here. The old, as they say, it is a jam-packed show. And it is. World Juniors starting, Boxing Day, Canada, Finland. We have the general manager of the Canadian junior team, Pete Anholt, from Nacum, Saskatchewan, via Prince Albert, via Lethbridge, joining us from Ottawa. It'll be a great conversation with Pete. Find out, what kind of pressure. When I talked to Les Lazaruk the other day, Les didn't think Pete would be feeling the pressure, and I think he will. So I'm going to settle it.
I don't think you feel it yet, but it's going to come. It's going to build. And there's a crescendo.
I can't wait to ask him what he learned from last year. 5th place finish. Obviously, we'll get to this.
Yeah.
But Pete Anholt's going to join us. Glen Suitor in hour 1, talking about the Riders' couple of new coaches that were announced. We're going to talk about the trade from the other day and talk about the report card that was released and what Glenn still thinks about that. Arash Madani in hour 2. That's where Pete Anholt's going to be also a little bit later in hour 2. Hour 3, if we are talking World Juniors, we might as well talk to the lead TSN analyst for the World Juniors, Mr. Craig Button. He'll come on. We'll talk about the Sasky boys and Pete Anholt and Alan Murray. It's just full littered with Saskatchewan flavor on the World Junior team this year.
Yep.
And we have the final for the SportsCage Ultimate Christmas Song Bracket. This has picked up steam. A lot of people are really interested in it.
They're personally invested, is what I feel. Yeah, they're invested. They want their song to win.
If CoolBet.co would have had this as a line at some point, that it was going to be Jose Feliciano and Feliz Navidad, who barely snuck in to the bracket, was going to be up against Alan Jackson, Let It Be Christmas. Great song. Really good. Really, really good. Slower Christmas song from Alan Jackson. But he barely got past round 1 and Elton John. And here he is in the final up against the international bracket top seed, Jose Feliciano. Where do we stand right now, Curtis? People can vote on Twitter, SportsCage.
Yeah, they can vote on Twitter, and Roscoe actually just sent in his vote for Alan Jackson via the text line. But on Twitter right now, it is neck and neck. 50% of the votes each way.
Wow.
So
we will take votes on the Capital Ford Lincoln text line, 306-936-6262, Saskatchewan's #1 Ford retailer.
I'm just happy Boney M's out.
Yeah,
shouldn't have been in there.
You kept messaging
I'm really anti-Boney M in this whole mess.
On days that you're not on the program, you're listening, and you're
terrible.
You're sweating, angry, hitting the heavy bag at home. Boney M. I don't like Boney M.
No.
Thanks, Roscoe, first guy in. And I feel, so here's what I feel, that the Metro camp, they were so disappointed.
And they should be.
That when Metro lost, they hitched their wagon to Alan Jackson.
You think that's where the votes went, do you? You think that was the turnaround?
I think Metro's people said, you know what? We got to band together. Alan's got to win this. He's one of us. Have some fun with it. It's been a lot of fun over the last week. Tons of entries on Twitter and on through the text line. So it's a lot of fun, and we'll keep updating you on that as we go along. Okay, back to World Juniors. We have Berkeley Catton from Saskatoon, Caden Price from Saskatoon.
Yep.
Braden Yeager will be the captain.
Heard that.
That was announced today from Saskatoon. Tanner Howe from Prince Albert. 4 Saskatchewan players on the team. Then we have Pete Anholt, general manager from Nacum, Saskatchewan.
Yep.
And Al Murray.
The head scout.
From Regina.
Yep.
Do you know Al?
I do. Yep.
What would make him so good at this job, at his job of scouting, building teams, and doing what he does?
So and I'm not going to discredit Al in this in any way, but when you're putting this group together for the World Juniors, and I looked at this today from the camp roster to what they came up with, I mean, most of them are already NHL picks. I think there was only a handful that weren't drafted yet. So you're really working off the guys that are already drafted in terms of them being 19 years old. And then after that, you're looking for the exceptional ones that are 17 and 18. They're pretty easy to find. Gavin McKenna stands out pretty easy, right? You don't have to go look that hard, right? So it's more about making sure you got the right 19-year-olds in the mix. Do we get the right left and right-handed defensemen? Do we got centermen? But I think, and Al's done this before and he's won before, and I think that's a critical point to note. He brings the best players. He's not worried about whether they're the best penalty killers, the best power play guy, the best what. He brings the best players. Who's got the best all-around game? And that's why we see a guy like Tanner Howe there. He brings a whole complete game. Tanner Howe can play on the power play. He can play on the penalty kill. So Al's done a job of finding the best players and bringing them forward to this instead of finding them positional or situation specific. And I think that's the mistake Team Canada made last year, is that they went, we need a guy that can just kill penalties. Well, you can teach Jaeger to kill penalties in this sort of event. So it's more important to bring the best players there and have them available.
The other thing, and I have a tough time with this, even though it's become a bit of a made-for-TV thing, but the tournament has gotten so much better, and the parity.
Yep.
You have, the Chechnya, who's solid now. The Slovaks can surprise. Who was it the other couple of years ago? Switzerland actually wasn't that bad. You got the Swedes who are right there.
Perennially there, yep. The Americans.
Well, the Americans have kind of, I want to say, superseded Canada as the team to beat in this tournament in maybe the last 10 years.
Well, I go back to the 91 tournament that was kind of the first one that TSN broadcast every Canadian game of and made a big deal of it. Doug Waite played for Team Canada or Team USA here, but you can't recognize many other guys off that roster list from 91 and their NHL experience. So the USA development model has obviously improved theirs, but I think USA is just one example. I think Sweden's done it, Finland's done it, like you say, Czechia's done it. All those countries have created that development model to say, if we're going to compete at this World Juniors and the model to beat is Canada, we're going to have to change what we do.
Brent Brecky, Tony Burns, Mike Doors, Ted Drury, Mike Dunham, goalie, he played.
Yeah.
Brian Gantz, forward. Chris Gosmitson, Mike Hinkey, Chris Imes, Craig Johnson, played in the league. Trent Klatt, played in the league.
Yeah.
Ken Klee,
Played
in the league. Scott LaChance, played in the league. Billy Lindsay, didn't play much. Aaron Miller, not the one from Estevan. Ian Moran, Pat Neaton, Derek Plant, Brian Rolston, Jim Storm, Keith Kachuk, Doug Waite. That was the American team.
So
guess who the head coach was? I didn't know this one.
Go ahead.
That is very interesting.
Who's the head coach?
Kevin Constantine.
Wow. I didn't go that far down into their roster.
Assistant coach, Walt Kyle. The only reason I bring that up, because when you have an assistant, you have a guy named Walt on your staff, you know he's a good guy. Walt can do number of different
There's not many
things.
bad Walts in the world, is there? No.
Walt, can you drive the bus? Yeah, I'm sharpening these skates. Walt.
But you look at that roster, right? And Canada's roster at the time, I think there was maybe one guy on Canada's roster that didn't have 2 or 3 or 4 years in the show, right? Canada's roster was, off the top of my head, Brad May, Mike Sillinger, Eric Lindros, Mike Craig, Stephen Rice. Like those guys all played for Canada.
Carl Dykhouse. Patrice Brisebois. Felix Potvin. Trevor Kidd.
Yeah. Those were all part of Team Canada. Pat Falloon.
Yeah. Really let himself go.
Hey, he's just had a good offseason. Yeah.
Oh, Kent Manderville.
Yeah.
Decent player. Pierre Sevigny never really amounted to a lot. Stephen Rice, you mentioned. Chris Draper.
Yeah, things turned out okay for him.
Jason Marshall.
Defenseman.
Chris Snell. That's one that never...
That was one we got to give away. Yeah.
Dale Craigwell. Dale Craigwell was the one that Dick Todd allegedly took instead of Scott Sissons.
Really?
And Scott Sissons was tearing up the Western Hockey League. This is really good chat for that.
Because Craigwell, if I remember right, didn't play a whole bunch in that tournament.
Yeah, and you didn't take the hometown boy. Like Sillinger was the only Sasky guy on that team. John Slaney, a little bit of an NHL career, scored the big goal. Dykhouse, I mentioned. Martin Lapointe was young.
Yes.
Gritty player there. David Harlock. Like, I don't even know if David Harlock played senior.
We'd have to do some hockey DB to find out what happened to old Harlock.
Yeah, then Brad Macy. I forgot Brad May was on that team. And one of the youngest players on that team on defense. I don't even think he played that much, but did he turn out to be one of the best Canadian defensemen of all time?
What do you got there?
Looking up David Harlock.
Oh, you're trying to find him. Okay.
Who am I talking about? Defenseman. He was young. Turned out to be one of the best Canadian defensemen of all time. Really smooth skater. Like
Desjardins was
that. Matejchuk last year from Moose Jaw reminded me of him.
Oh, well, I'm not going to go from reminder of who he looked like, but...
smooth skating defenseman. Brother played in the league as well.
Niedermayer?
Yeah.
He would have been there as a 16 or 17-year-old then.
And I apologize to the family of David Harlock because he did play a number of games in the National Hockey League. Toronto Maple Leafs to start, then he got shipped over to Washington, to the Islanders, to the Thrashers. So if anybody knows Dave out there, tell him I said sorry. Where's he from?
Look up Chris Snell.
Toronto.
Now you've badmouthed Chris Snell as well. Find where he went.
Chris Snell. What do you think? Was he a college player?
No, I don't think so.
Trying to think who the college guy was that he had in.
Manderville would have been the college guy.
I don't know. So remind me that week, that New Year's week.
Yep.
Kind of things are wonky. I'll go to the Monday Nooner. I'll chop up the Eric Lindros interview about the World Juniors in 91. He's got a great Mike Sillinger story. Or no, I bring up a Sillinger story to him, I think. He's got an unreal story about Mike Craig, because he was with the Minnesota North Stars.
Yep.
And then they released him to go and play.
I actually have this was probably one of the uniquest times in my life that I got to participate in an epic event in Canada's hockey history. I was a part of that Team Canada on the media side. So I worked with a guy, his name was Murray. I want to say it was Matt or Mike Murray. I can't even remember. It's so long ago now. And he just took me on and he said, I need a second guy. You're in Regina, blah, blah, blah. So after the Finns tied the Russians here.
Epic game. I would love to watch that game.
Yeah. I mean, I've never heard the Brandt Center, at that time the Agrodome, with that much noise going on in it. It was fantastic. So again, had to go get a landline, phone the number that he's at, waiting.
Punch, or do you have to do the turn?
No, it was punch. It was punch.
Okay,
yeah,
punch.
We had punch at the old Brandt Center. Punch, and he says, okay, I need you here tomorrow morning, right? The game against the Russians was that night. Got up to Saskatoon. Of course, they win the game. I come downstairs underneath by the dressing rooms, and he says, okay, we're going to split up the guys going to the media room. I will take everybody but Lindros. You have Eric Lindros to get in and out of the media room. I said, well, thanks. And at that time, the Lindros family had already made some big statements about whether they were going to play and who they were going to play for and all the rest of it. Because he was going there as a 16-year-old. He was young. He was really young.
I think it was a second time.
No, it was his first.
In Saskatoon?
Yeah.
No. We'll debate this.
Okay, we'll look that up too. So anyway, my job was to take Eric in. He was not to answer more than 3 questions and then grab him by the pants and get him out, which is exactly what happened.
Was his dad Carl, right? Because it was his agent.
Yeah, Carl wasn't down there. No, but got him in and out of the media room as fast as I can, and then started enjoying cold beer.
Big Carl. What kind of beer did you have? About Carling O'Keefe? Maybe an old Vienna?
Could have been an old Vienna back then. Could have been. I'd love an old Vienna. Oh.
January 3rd, 1991. The Soviet Union and Finland tie 5-5 in Regina. It is still one of the real noodle scratchers of that tournament, how that happened, because the Russians had the gold medal.
They did.
Locked.
They did. All they had to do was win the game.
Soviets, sorry. I apologize to all you Soviets.
Who are they, wherever they are? They just had to win the game. They were up 5-3, and Finns came back to tie it up, forcing the gold medal game. And that was the round-robin version of the tournament. There was no playoffs. Canada had lost to the Czech Republic earlier. And so the loss or the tie meant a loss would give Canada the gold medal. And otherwise, Canada was only playing for silver.
Canada tied the United States. They came out. I was at the game, the first game they played Switzerland.
Yeah.
I remember Paulie Yax was the goaltender for Switzerland. He must have stopped 75 point-blank shots that night. Like it was like, what is this poor guy doing? Why are these guys in the tournament? For starters, 6-0 they won, and then they tied the United States.
Really?
They hammered on Norway. Again, this is when the tournament wasn't anywhere near what it was now.
Yep.
They hammered Finland 5-1.
Beat Sweden.
Did they? So you said they lost Czechoslovakia 6-5.
Yeah, they lost to the Czechs. Yeah.
How did that happen? Humboldt hosted games. I forgot, and Prince Albert did as well.
Yeah, they it was one of the cool things they did with that tournament at that time. Just now you can't do it just due to the size and the attention it gets. But it was still a small enough deal that you could move the games around the province and put them in other places. So, yeah.
And the one story that Lindros tells is about Mike Craig, and they were going to Kindersley for an exhibition game.
That was their training camp was, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll have to cut up that interview and play it that week. No, so lots of World Junior talk over the next little bit. It'll be fun. What do we got for time here? 20. Should we take a break or let's take a break. When we come back, if you've been following if you follow us on Twitter at SportsCage, you saw a picture. Sharky hasn't seen it yet that I put up last night, and it is what do the kids call it when something is going nuts on Twitter? You guys are youngsters.
Is it cooking?
Is viral out of date already?
Is viral out of date?
I think it's cooking now, isn't it?
I don't know. Curtis doesn't really want to be here anymore. He's mailing it in the next 2 days, he said. So Colson,
what's the matter? Is the man bun too tight? What's going on?
he's already in holiday mode.
A little bit. Just a little bit. It's hurting my brain.
Let's go to break, and then we come back. If you're watching the stream, I'm going to put up this picture that's gone viral on the Sports Cage. We are streaming. You can watch the stream, and then you'll be able to see the picture. sportscage.com and YouTube. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. And Pouty Pants Curtis gets a case of beer if we get there. And as always, we are on 620 CKRM. All right, Colson, Eric Lindros in 1991 at the World Juniors that was played in Saskatchewan. I said it was his second time. It would have been 17. You said it was first at 16?
He would have been 17 years old and his second. He was in Finland the year before.
But played like a man.
Yes. Oh, he was a beast. He was an absolute beast.
Takla, gloves and pants and high tech.
Wait till I bring my Takla jacket.
Oh,
I've got my Takla jacket.
He was second in total points that tournament behind Doug Waite.
Yeah, Waits.
Who had 5 goals, 14 assists.
And where's Pavel Bure on that?
Pavel Bure was third.
There you go.
Alexander
12
McGillney.
goals, 3 assists. Alexander who?
Was McGillney on that team?
He was on the next. Was it the next
he's
year?
older than Bure. I thought he would have been on that team too.
Or was it the year before?
Darius Kasparaitis.
I'm not seeing them. I'm just looking at the scoring leaders.
Who
not
else
the whole
was
team.
on the Soviet Union then?
I'd have to go back.
Fedorov wouldn't have been.
I think he's too young.
We'll have to look as we get going here. More
I didn't
World
bring
Junior
a computer.
talk.
It's like I'm sitting here naked.
Thank God.
Computer.
Thank God you're not.
Yeah.
I don't need any
tastefully dressed
even
today.
with the fire in behind you there.
That is nice, hey?
If you're watching the stream, it does look like a legit fire, like a real big cabin, like something you'd find in the mountains.
Having a joyous day with a nice warm fire behind me. Yeah.
Speaking of the
coffee.
Speaking of the stream, that's on YouTube and sportscage.com. Let's go out. This is the picture that we put yesterday. Sharky, you will totally remember these. This one is like the new school version and really souped up.
What is that?
You can't see it from where you're old man.
Where are we going? Are you putting that on another screen that I can see?
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
I love it.
It's an ice resurfacer. You know what rink that is?
No, go ahead.
Bollier.
Okay, I was going to take a guess, but
Saskatchewan, and just any rink like that that's still around, we need to hang on to those for dear life. Those are such iconic barns, and it is. How would you explain that? It's like the old barrel. Remember the barrel with the little piece of towel behind it?
Yep.
Some rinks would do. This is a plastic
knock off of that
barrel
idea. Yeah.
on almost like
It's like a garden
cart.
wagon.
A garden wagon.
It's like they went to Dutch growers and stole one of the wagons.
Or they could have purchased it. Not everyone steals things, Sharky. And they threw it on the wagon, and it's got sweet yellow wheels, and they dangle around that thing. They would take a long time to clean the ice with that.
It would, because you got to shovel first. You got to get the snow off first.
And I heard when I want to play rec hockey in Bullier. If anyone has a game out there, I want to play because the losers shovel. That's how it works.
That's quite
there.
an incentive, yes.
Losers shovel. I don't know who floods. And then they still have the chicken wire, I think, in Bull. It's awesome.
That's where you get like your elbows or your thumb caught or something. And
It's rec hockey. It's not like it's
Doesn't
going to
matter.
get that.
Yeah.
The problem is for goalies because you don't expect any of those bounces when you
they're
go
going a different direction every time.
Yeah, when you go play on the old wire or whatever it is, chain mesh, it's you never know where you're going to bounce.
One of my last experiences as a kid with the pushing the ice surfacer and watching the guy come out with a bucket, Vonda, Saskatchewan.
That barn.
Yeah.
We played. Our family played in a tournament there, probably the year right before COVID. Small. It was cold. The snow was coming in through the cracks on the one side.
Yeah.
But the upstairs they redid. You feel like you're at a ski lodge. But you're in the
I haven't been upstairs.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
You're in the Vonda
War
ice
Memorial.
skating rink.
I think it's War Memorial.
If you squint, you look like you're looking outside at Aspen, Colorado.
I believe their Zamboni or ice resurfacer is a skid steer converted. I believe that the guys at now Right Way Manufacturing went and took that, and at the time it would have been Rockomatic.
Like not the tractor style.
They got to because they don't have enough space for the tractor, so they had to get a little skid steer and fold out the augers, and the snow gets kept on top and the water's at the back or something. It's a complicated process. If you have a picture of the Vonda resurfacer, please send that in.
I could make a call and find out here, maybe at the break, and find out more. But yeah, that picture gained a lot of traction. Just people, ice resurfacers.
Yeah.
And the different ways we get it done here in Sasky. Shout out to Colin McLeod, actually, from Bullier, who sent that to me. Fantastic. Look, if you want to see it again, it's at SportsCage Twitter account. You'll see it there. Time for a quick break. When we get back, we will talk to Glen Suitor, little CFL action. The Riders have come out with their coaching staff for 2025. The new guys are in. Travis Brown, linebacker coach, 8 years experience in the league.
I like it.
And I like this. Offensive assistant, Josh Donnelly.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty impressive to see that he's getting that chance.
U of R Rams began with the Rams in 2023 as the pass game coordinator and quarterbacks coach. And they had such a successful year, so he's getting a chance to dip his feet in the CFL waters.
Hey, if you're a football coach and you're willing to learn and get better, you're only going to get chances along the way, and that's what Josh has got. So, yeah, happy for the whole family.
Sharky is in front of the fire. If you're watching the stream, Claude,
Beautiful day.
Curtis, and
Beautiful
Colson.
day here.
Time for a quick break. When we come back, we will talk to Glen Suitor, the All New SportsCage, streaming at sportscage.com.
The All New SportsCage with CFL and Saskatchewan Rough Rider legend Glen Suitor is brought to you by Quality Tire. With 9 locations across Saskatchewan, visit qualitytire.ca.
Glen Suitor is with us, our last segment, chat, breakout, whatever the buzzword is these days before Christmas. On Tuesday, let's start here. On Tuesday, we talked about the report card that was released. You've had a few days to think about this. You're not sure why they released it.
Yeah, I've been thinking long and hard about it. I went back and looked at it again. You know, there's some specific examples in there too, and things where a player or some players that are not named are publicly criticizing some of the organizations. And I started to think about that overall topic that we've touched on many times, Barney, which is messaging, overall messaging. And it's something that I don't think the league office did a very good job of over the last, 3, 4, 5 years under Randy Ambrosie. He did some good things, but I don't think messaging was considered enough from the league office. And when you say, for instance, we're making a rule change because the league's broken, that's what people think. Well, the league's broken, you're making changes. No, it's not. So this is what I thought about this report card over the last couple of days. What is the benefit to the league, the game of football in our country, the teams individually, or the players? What is the benefit of, let's say what it is, airing your dirty laundry publicly? Because, if those are A's across the board for all the teams, it's not a big deal. But they clearly weren't. In fact, they were the opposite end of that spectrum for a lot of the teams. I mean, look at all the D's and C's in there. Now, tell me what the benefit is to the players, because it's a Players Association deal. What is the benefit to them to make this a public document? Internally, I get it, Barney.
Yeah. The only thing that I could see, and I get what you're saying here, the only thing is that it's the old, you are being heard, or the other thing too is it was going to get leaked anyway. So maybe, right? So they're like, let's just put it out there. Those would be the only two things for me that I would think. But I get what you're saying as well.
Yeah, like the leak thing. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a reality of the world we live in, and it probably does. But when something comes out as a leak, even when it comes, through a media outlet, I think there's always a little bit of skepticism where people are saying, well, let me do my own research here and see if all of what they're saying is true. So in other words, if it's leaked by a player in particular, first of all, he'd have to put his name behind it, pretty much, or it would have to be a player from a certain team. And then they say, well, a guy from the Lions that I won't name has said the XYZ, and this is the chart. Again, I can see it internally circulating and saying, if you're a free agent player and we're in the Players Association office, you and I are running the show, and we say, let's get this information to free agents so that they understand that this has been, take it for what it's worth, but it's a judgment call on the team that you may be interested in signing as a free agent. And if it helps you make your decision, that's great. And I think of the category that comes off the top of my head is that family one, taking care of family. I think that would be a real priority for a lot of players. So they may look at that and say, well, this team is better than that team, and I might go that way in free agency. That internally I can see, but there is no benefit to putting that report card that if you're watching the podcast you just saw, there is no benefit to me to put that out in the public to any of the people involved, teams, league, game itself, or players. I don't see the benefit.
On Tuesday, we also talked about teams, and Calgary was first out of the gate. I think it was Calgary, or is it Edmonton? Yes. That was at Calgary. That was fully loaded, coaching staff, been released, all that. Riders today, new guy in the fold is Travis Brown, linebacker coach. 8 seasons in the CFL, 6 with BC. A guy that's coming with a lot of experience. What do you know about him?
Well, I remember covering him as a player, and when he was playing the game, and knowing that he was one of those cerebral guys, one of the guys that were they were the guys in the huddle that when you broke the huddle, every one of the players who didn't know what they were doing on the play, and believe me, that happens even at the pro level, which is always just a eye roller to me, is like, how can you be a professional athlete and not know what you're doing in this particular defense? And it happens all the time. Anyway, that he was always the guy that made the corrections and knew what everyone was doing, not just what he was doing in his position. Every free safety has to understand that in the league. Pretty much every middle linebacker is like that in the league, where they know everybody's assignment on every call. So, yeah, he's that kind of guy. But I think what's most notable is, that the Riders have announced this right away. And we talked about this on Tuesday, how important it is to have your staff in place well before free agency happens, so that in those internal communications, however they may happen, legally or illegally, you get a good picture of what you want in free agency because your staff is in place. So that's important. And I also think for the Riders in their case, different, for Calgary, because they're going through change. But for the Riders, continuity is huge. I mean, it's as simple as this, and break it down like this, Barney. Like in first year as a player with a coach, so you know whether it's the coaching change and you're a veteran or you're a rookie, and this is your first year with that coach, whether it's position coach, a coordinator, or the head coach, all those guys you have to figure out, and they have to figure out you, and you have to figure out them, and you have to understand what is their expectation. What can I work on in my game to best suit the way that this staff wants to play me? In other words, in different positions, maybe you're going to blitz as a linebacker way more than you ever have in your career because of a new staff. Well, in year one, you're learning that on the fly. So by the middle of the season, yeah, you can figure that out and you should be on the same page. But now you have continuity in the staff. Every one of the players that were returning, they're ready to go. They know how to train. They know where they want to train. They know what they want to improve on. It's massive to keep that continuity.
Yeah, like I said, it's professional sports or even minor or even down as a kid. When you had that same coach as a kid, the second year around, you knew him better. He knew you better. It's just, continuity's such a big thing. We didn't talk much about the trade on Tuesday. Quickly, what was your thoughts on the trade? Some swapping of dollars there.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I thought McLeod Bethel Thompson, and this is not a slight against him, but I thought McLeod Bethel Thompson, when he signed last year in Edmonton, was going to be a backup to the Trey Ford time. That it was Trey Ford's time to develop, and to develop properly, you've got to be on the field. And I thought all indications looked like to me that Trey Ford was going to be the guy with a real veteran anchor behind him in McLeod Bethel Thompson. Completely different style, but a veteran who's seen it all and can really stabilize things. If Trey Ford is going through some real downs, which he will as a young guy, it's going to happen. Yeah. So, that didn't happen last year, and they just gave him the job, McLeod. Now, again, not criticism against him, but we know what he is. I think, he's a very good player. I think he's a great passer, but he just hasn't won enough. And that's really the final measure. That's the most important measure, especially for that position. So to have this change, he's now going to have to decide whether or not he wants to take on this other role, this backup role. To be honest with you, and this is just observation, when they did make the change in Edmonton last year, I didn't see great body language from McLeod Bethel Thompson in games. I saw him standing away from Trey Ford, kind of at the end of the bench. And I'm not making a judgment necessarily here because you just don't know. Maybe he was great behind closed doors in the meeting rooms and all that. In fact, I have heard that both of them got along well, and Trey Ford learned a lot from McLeod. So, there's some balance to be had there, but he's going to have to, and so will Cody Fajardo in this new role in Edmonton, is now going to have to figure out if they're okay with being in a completely different role. And, Barney, when it comes to Cody, he's kind of like, remember the Rodney Dangerfield era where he had the whole can't get any, I know I'm dating myself here, but can't get any respect was his big stick. Like it was, I don't get any respect, and he'd have his tie and all that. Well, I sort of feel like Cody is kind of in that category. I mean, he takes the Riders to a game away in 2 years as a starter from the big game. He's a Grey Cup champion. He's a Grey Cup MVP now after that big year in Montreal with their great winning streak. And, I know there's times when he's inconsistent as a passer and his accuracy just isn't as good as it probably should be at times. But I think he's a great winner. I think he's a great leader. And I think, the wins have put him right on the brink. If he goes to the Cup in those 2 years, which was in one case, I think it was 19, he was a goalpost away when he hit the crossbar. Yes. I tell you what, he's a guy that he must be looking in the mirror sometimes going, I don't know what I really have to do to prove that I can be the guy on a team long term. So, hey, Davis Alexander, I think he's got a great future ahead of him, but you don't know until you know.
Yeah. It's funny. I thought Curtis, who's way too young, was quickly trying to pull up some Rodney Dangerfield video for you, but he did say he's mailing it in. He's 2 days away from 2 weeks of holidays, so we'll let it slide. And then lastly here, we got about 30, 40 seconds left. Are you curious on the college football playoffs that start this weekend? And Curtis Rourke and Indiana, you going to be watching that?
Yeah, I will be interested in that one. And I'm always interested. I always watch college football, but I don't, and the NFL in the offseason, but I don't watch it because I'm cheering for one team or another, or I'm excited about, the Rose Bowl or whatever bowl game it could be. It's because I want to hear how they talk about it on the air. I use it as sort of training tapes to watch games throughout the winter down south and see how they describe a first down when the guy runs a 10-yard curl and the quarterback throws it on time. How do they describe that? Because, maybe there's something I can learn and add to my game. Steal from them. Add to my game, right? I should say. Yeah.
Because you get no respect. That's right. Always got to get better. Always got to get better. It's been a pleasure, Glenn. We're off next week, and then we'll hit you up the week after. Have a great Christmas, you and the family. If you're doing some traveling, travel safe, and looking forward to it.
You too, Barney. Everybody in Saskatchewan, have a great and safe Christmas.
Right on. There is Glen Suitor press coverage for Quality Tire, 9 locations across Saskatchewan. Time for a quick break. We are on the home of the Riders, 620 CKRM, and we're streaming at sportscage.com. Good interview there with Glen Suitor. We talk CFL. We talked about the coaching staff for the Riders being set in stone. Like you said, it's good because with free agency coming,
you want that done.
If you don't have your coaches in place, it's like, hey, you want to sign with us? Who's coaching? We don't know yet.
Some guy.
Yeah.
He'll be good. Trust me. He'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm going to wait. Shout out to, what's his name? Nicholas Farm Sim?
It's Nicholson Farm Sim.
Nicholson Farm Sim. He subscribed. He heard us trying to get our subscribers on YouTube up to 1,000 because then Curtis gets a case of beer. So everyone that subscribes, we're going to give you a shout out.
I love Curtis's sweater today.
Help Curtis get a case of beer. He's got a Zellers.
Yeah.
No free plugs, but Zellers is no longer in business.
Not in Saskatchewan, anyway.
Are they in business anywhere?
I think the base propped them back up again.
Nah.
I got this from Zellers in Saskatoon when they reopened for a brief moment. So,
All right. Barney's on the look-alone. He's trying to find it. Zellers.
Zellers was a Canadian discount chain founded by Walter P. Zeller in 1931. It was acquired by Hudson Bay Company in 1978. I don't think there's any.
You think it's over?
Yeah, like nice cafeteria. So seriously.
It was.
Those were the days, and everybody out there, the young kids will never know.
Gravy. Yeah.
The young kids will never know the beauties of going to a Zellers, a Woolco, a Woolworths, a Craigslist, Army and Navy.
Army and Navy. Yeah, great store.
A nice hamburger, greasy, cooked on a greasy, like a black. It was the Blackstone before the Blackstone was invented.
Remember the malts at the Bay?
We were in it. This was a Bay building that we're in Regina.
I know. The malts were downstairs. They were delicious. Like I would literally just go right here just to get my malt. That was the start of downtown shopping.
And your cholesterol. That was the start of your cholesterol going through the roof.
Yeah.
Sports Cage Ultimate Song Bracket. All of you, there's been a ton of you really on the edge of your seat as you vote here. Colson, I haven't had a chance to look. I haven't even looked on Twitter
Colson, where are we at today? What's the story? What's the score?
Because you can get into by 936-6262. We had a number of Alan Jackson supporters early. And then the other, if you want to vote for Feliz Navidad by Jose Feliciano, who is from Puerto Rico.
Yes, that's what we discovered.
He wants the Puerto Rican fans out there on the Sports Cage to vote. This is the final. They're unsuspecting that these two would be in the final. If you're watching the stream, there you see how it went down. Jose took care of I Want a Hippopotamus for Christmas in round 1. Then I'll Be Home, which knocked off Metro. And
Still can't believe Metro was out that early.
And it was almost as a revolt against I'll Be Home. Feliz Navidad knocked off them. And then to get to the final, Blue Christmas slapped Elvis around. Or was it close?
I don't remember. I would have to check that.
But knocked off Elvis to get to the final.
Yeah.
And then keep that back up. Go up that. Let's give people the route, as they say, that Let It Be Christmas by Alan Jackson almost lost to Sir Elton John. And then in a massive upset of what would be colossal proportions? Epic proportions. Beat Mary's Boy Child by Boney M. Sharky loved that
Shouldn't even have been in the category.
And then I call Bull you know what. Somehow Alan Jackson beat Hard Candy Christmas by Dolly Parton yesterday by one vote.
Yeah.
Of course, the day that Maz hosts, you guys don't rig it. Come on.
We're about our integrity here.
Yeah.
People don't steal and they don't rig contests, right?
SportsCage Ultimate Christmas Song Bracket.
Yeah.
Got to maintain our integrity.
It is legit, because if I was here yesterday, Hard Candy would be in the final right now.
Well, you weren't.
Against Jose Feliciano, and it would be destroying Jose Feliciano.
You took the day off, and Dolly Parton's upset about it.
I went to Watrous for my real work, and then I just hit that storm on the way back. If you're out, how are the highways? If you're out traveling,
I think they're okay now.
I got to drive to Saskatoon immediately following this program. 936-6262. Are they okay now?
I think so. Yeah. Go to the highway hotline. Going to give you a look.
I looked up the highway hotline. It's in black. It says bear. That's got to be a good thing.
Yeah.
Except if you're going Langham, Radisson, Maymont to North Battleford. If you're maybe going for
That's
a
sketchy.
overnighter with the missus or husband to the Tropical Inn, it says partly covered right now. So, and then all the way to Lloydminster, it looks nasty.
You're good to Saskatoon.
Partly covered. I shouldn't say nasty. Partly covered. Purple is travel not recommended, and we don't have a lot of purple in the province. So, yeah, I should be good to Saskatoon tonight.
You should be good.
Kelly Taylor hits the stage at 9 o'clock. Might go take that in.
Where's he playing at?
It's called the Capitol. It's 2nd Avenue-ish.
Okay.
It used to be an old Louisiana place way back in the day. TVS. We talked about Blockbuster. There was a TVS store across the street from that back in the 80s. They used to go rent VHS tapes.
What do you think the T was for? Television Video Service? Do you think that's what it was? TVS?
I don't know. It's another one of the great mysteries of our time.
We'll never know.
Great mystery of our time. Hockey, Humboldt and Assiniboia this evening. SJHL, the Assiniboia Red Wings.
Last game there, though, I think, right? They get things fixed up at home?
Is that
to
come down?
I was reading that. They've got, it sounds like they've got things fixed up back in the barn.
Let's hope. Fingers crossed for everybody in Weyburn. Busy Friday and Saturday in the SJ. Maz will run all that down tomorrow. WHL's on break.
They're done. Going for Christmas.
Last night, Calgary dumped Prince Albert 8-5. Christmas break until the 27th. AAA midget games tomorrow. Swift Current comes to the Cooperator Center, 7:45. That's a great $10. That's going to be a big game. It's going to be a good game. Swift Current's not going to the max, so they want to say, "Hey, we want to dump you as you go.
Have fun with this loss as you go to the max."
And then they can tweet.
Don't they play Friday, Saturday? Don't they got them 2 nights?
Is it? Well, let's look it up here quickly.
For some reason, I thought they had them both nights here, Friday, Saturday.
No, you could be right, sir.
The Legionnaires are coming to town.
We are looking on Saturday. The Legionnaires Friday 7:45, and Saturday 7:45. Friday and Saturday. You are Legionnaires at Swift Current, so they're doing the back-to-back.
I'll have to catch them Friday.
Staying in town. Female games on the weekend. They're not no rest.
No.
Rebels have to travel into PA. Pre-Christmas game. The female Rebels up in PA. Maybe they'll hit the Gateway Mall up in PA for entertainment purposes. Prairie Junior Hockey League, the Junior B Loop. Saturday pre-Xmas affair, we got Capitals and Pilot Butte Storm. There's a little local hockey rundown. Some senior from last night. Foam Lake, number one.
that.
Tomorrow is the senior hockey report for coolbet.co and Future Forward. Foam Lake, a scare last night. Almost lost. 6-5 comeback win over Lanigan in the Long Lake. And Wadena, 5-2 over Leroy. We were just looking at the lines on coolbet.co for the senior hockey.
If you haven't signed up for this is crazy that the senior hockey lines are on coolbet.co. So if you want to put a little money on the Mooseman Rangers, right?
Or you want to play for free at coolbet.co.
Free, yes, right?
Wynyard is a 2-point favorite against Drake. And then what was the game? Leroy Foam Lake. 4-point. I like Leroy covering that 4. No?
At Foam Lake?
At Foam Lake?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, no, they're going down. They're going to get hurt.
Coolbet.co. Time for a quick break. We come back in hour 2. Arash Madani and general manager of the World Junior team this year for Canada, Pete Anholt's going to join us. It's the All New SportsCage, trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. SportsCage.com, streaming on YouTube, and as always, on the home of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, 620 CKRM. I don't know.
You're supposed to know that stuff.
Welcome back to the All New SportsCage. On Thursday, Barney Sharky, Curtis, and Colson. Well, Colson and half of Curtis. He's in holiday mode already. He's off as of today. Yeah. I thought it was tomorrow. It's off as today. 936-6262, Capital Ford Lincoln text line. A lot of people chiming in on the ultimate song bracket, the final. Jose Feliciano against Alan Jackson. I know it's weird, but that's who we have in the final. You guys voted. We're getting a lot of people that message into Ray on the weekend, those are great programs. My daughter, once in a while, she'll be calling. She'll be like, "Hi, can I request?" And I'm like, "What are you doing? You're calling Ray?" Because we play it on the Alexa, right? And in stereo sound, it sounds great. And he plays a lot of the old tunes. But a lot of people are coming out of the woodwork that I see text in votes on Ray's show, voting for Alan Jackson. Shout out Donna Gettle, maybe it says. She wanted a little Alan Jackson. And then TJE in Davidson. Jackson is pretty cool, but I got to go with Jose.
Really?
Oh, Davidson, big Jose town up there, maybe in Dave. Maybe somebody don't know.
Don't let Metro find
maybe
out.
The Cyclones play it as their warm-up song. Thanks for the vote, though. Okay, and then people were getting into the consent. This is going to be a whole other. When maybe that week that things are slow, we can talk about this. But we talked about Zellers because Curtis is wearing a Zellers hoodie. And we talked about some of those stores that used to have awesome restaurants. Is that what you would call them?
It was just good grease on the grill. It was just good layer of cooking grease
Rob
on the grill.
V. I don't want to hack up your last name, Rob, so I'm going Rob V. He took me back, and I thought I was the only one that experienced this, and it was by mistake. I must have been 6 years old with my mother, Dolores, at the Wolco on the west side in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. Confed Wolco, by far the toughest Wolco in Western Canada.
Ever.
Deep fried pizza pops. Wolco. Regina Rob. They deep fried their pizza pops. I thought they only did that by mistake.
The only other way to cook them was in the microwave, wasn't it? Wasn't that the only way to cook them?
No, an oven. Some convection oven?
Well, you lived in a pretty fancy neighborhood. You had an oven, eh?
No, you know what we did once? We went to Beaver Creek in the wintertime and built fires, and you wrapped everything up in tinfoil and threw it in the fire, and that's what you ate?
Yeah.
Our coach, you probably done that.
Yep.
Our teacher. Anyways, Rob, deep fried pizza pops. I also had one at Penguin Park or Penguin Village in Saskatoon. It was the
water slide?
Yeah. Big sponsors of the Storm up there. But Rob, I thought I was the only one that got one. And then sorry, go ahead.
I'll bet you Arash has had one.
Shelley from Kipling, home of GB Construction, Al Batter's absolute beauty. If you ever seen that outdoor rink he built, it's crazy.
Nuts.
You're forgetting Consumers Distributing. I would never forget Consumers Distributing. Shelley, if you follow me on Twitter, you will see that one. I think it still says that.
Consumers Distributing Alumni?
No, it says... always wanted to send the orders through the slot at Consumers Distributing. And big North of 60 fan. That's what I would describe myself. The two
At
things.
least you get the bar up there.
When you got that box come through that slot at Consumer Distributing when you were a kid, whether it was a wrestler or the calculator watch, what else did I buy? That was
the calculator watch.
Yeah.
How big was that thing?
No, it wasn't that big. That's where I got it though, and I think it got ripped off at Riversdale Pool. We're going.
Your whole childhood is coming out right now.
We
right
got
in front of our eyes.
Arash is listening to this, and he wants to talk to more than just Mrs. S. Now he wants to talk to all my childhood friends. Let's go, Colson.
Both of them.
The All New Sports Cage and Coast to Coast with Arash Madani is brought to you by Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Golly at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
Auctions.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, there was a lot to unwrap there as you sat and listened. See, you should tune into the program more. It's very entertaining, Arash.
And educational.
It is. You know what I was thinking about? And like Curtis and Colson must think like we're from the Stone Ages. Like when my sister was 12, 13, 14 years old, she was like a pretty competitive swimmer.
Yeah.
And like among the fundraising things that the swim team did was deliver Sears catalogs door to door. Like Curtis and Wilson must be like, what are consumers distributing calculator watches, delivering catalogs? Like are you guys 1,000 years old?
The consumer's catalog was about half the size of the Sears one.
Yeah.
But they utilized their space well.
They didn't have as much product either.
Like I don't know how long we want to go into consumer distributing stories here, because the thing, there was a McDonald's across the street from Consumers on 22nd Street in Saskatoon, and I needed.
He's tripping over his words talking about consumers distributing.
I needed the Sergeant Slaughter for the whole set of the wrestling figurines, and I knew exactly what day the shipments came. They're in grade 5, and my mom would take me to. If she took me to McDonald's, I'd see that truck there, and then I would call with the old rotary dial phone. Hey, did your truck have Sergeant Slaughter? They're like, get lost, kid. I called every week. They were just like, who is this moron?
So if we really want to go down the rabbit hole of pay phones and public phones, when I was in grade 12, Monday night, like I grew up in Nova Scotia, Monday Night Raw was coming to Halifax. Like this was a big deal, and it's probably 3 or 4 months before the Montreal screw job, and it was in the teeth of Bret Hart being a heel in the U.S., but like a hero in Canada. Mm-hmm. And tickets were going on sale, like, say, June 15th at 10 a.m. Well, don't I have like a physics exam, final exam, middle of June at 9 in the morning? So the day before, I go over to the physics teacher. And like we're graduating that year. Myself and 2 buddies were going to go to wrestling. And I said, hey, like, this is the deal. We want to go to Raw. And the tickets go on sale at 10. I'm afraid by the time the exam ends, if I call, the tickets will be sold out. He looks at me, he said, you're graduating this year, right? Yeah. He said, make it 4 tickets. I'll pay you for 1. The 4 of us will go. I'll meet you there. And we went with Kevin Farrell, our physics teacher. Wow. Shout out Kevin, who just retired this past June. And we went, and that's my story.
What a dude. Kevin, what a dude. Let's get him on the show.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good guy to hang with. I like Kevin.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. See, like, there are so many things going through my noodle right now, but we got to get back on track here. We have a Thursday night football game tonight. Let's go there, because I just got our friend Sharky here hooked up a little cool bet action, and he's looking at the odds tonight. I'm taking the Chargers minus the points, -2.5. Why is that a bad bet, Arash?
I don't necessarily think it's a bad bet. It's just the last I saw was 3, so I guess it's moved to 2.5. Just the way the Broncos just kind of keep winning games. You're saying to yourself, I get points too. Both teams, I'm just not sold on either of those teams' defenses. You know, so does home field play a factor? Yes. This is why I think it's actually a decent bet. Is the Bo Nix factor now coming into the 3rd week of December? Here's a dude, fresh out of college. He's never played this many games in a year. He's never played on a short week. Plus, he's got to go on the road, and he's going up against Jim Harbaugh and company. I just think they may have a few things waiting for him that he hasn't seen before.
That's the only reason I placed the bet, is I think, but he's good. That guy's he's good.
Oh, yeah.
So recent luck with you, Arash. That's why I'm betting the Broncos. I'm putting everything on the Broncos because whatever you've told me the last 3 weeks has gone completely in the toilet. So I'm going Denver all the way tonight.
And I just, Sharky, I just like to keep it consistent,
On brand.
But may I take one victory lap, gentlemen?
Sure.
Cousins, Kirk. Speaking of 90s wrestlers, as Mr. Perfect once said, we're not the kind of guys who say I told you so, but we told you so.
Was Mr. Perfect Kurt Hart? No, what was his name?
Kurt Hennig.
Kurt Hennig. That's what it was. Shout out to Scott.
Kurt Harnett was the Olympic.
He's Pert Plus guy.
Velodrome, yeah.
he's the biking guy. Yeah, Pert Plus.
Yeah.
He made me buy Pert Plus. I'm like, those locks are good. I got to give a shout out here. Scott in Saskatoon says, best 5 minutes of radio I've heard in a while. LOL. Was the West Side Consumers in the parking lot that also had Duffer's Mini Golf and Arcade? Oh yeah, and Old School Taco Time was in there as I remember that strip mall. Rosie and Regina wants us to stir up some controversy because Michael Bublé's version is better of Feliz Navidad than Jose's. Hey, Rosie, you're going to have the Puerto Rican community after you, not me. All right?
You're late to the party, too.
We're sticking with Jose Feliciano on this. Hey, what about the Jerry Jeudy story coming out of the New York? It was Colson today because I've been running around with my head cut off. And Colson gets me on the story today, and I'm like, explain to the people, paint the picture on this, Arash.
So I'll just preface it by saying, as I told a buddy of mine last week who was asking, why aren't the Jays doing this and why aren't the Jays doing that? I said to him, just because people are in charge doesn't mean they know what they're doing. Our exhibit number 67,432 today out of the New York Jets organization, where before the season started, they wanted to trade for Jerry Jeudy. The football people did. Jerry Jeudy was a receiver with Denver, wasn't working out with the Broncos, ended up getting traded to Cleveland's having a monster year with the Browns. But Woody Johnson, the owner, steps in and nullifies the trade, says, we're not doing this because his kids told him that Jerry Jeudy's Madden rating wasn't high enough. Somebody said to me, this is $1 billion organization. I said, no. This is a multi-billion-dollar organization. And for those watching on the stream, yes, that is Jerry Jeudy taking an 80-yard touchdown to the house. There's so many layers to this. When ownership starts intervening and then having their teenage boys, it's like Brock and Jack or something like that, are their names. Like Brock and Jack maybe, hosting the...
Guaranteed they tuck their golf shirts into their Abercrombie khakis. Those two boys. And sweaters tied around their neck. Guaranteed.
And they have a cousin named Jack.
Yeah, and he lives in the Hamptons, though.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's just nonsense. It's just absolutely nonsense.
So why, if you're a free agent, do you even want to go play for the New York Jets? Doesn't matter how much money they offer you. Why would you go there if that's the process of thinking for a professional sports team?
I mean, I guess we didn't know until today. I don't know how many more. Look, like that is the poster child for dysfunction. But I think it would shock us just how screwed up a lot of these places are. Long ago, a coach once said to me, an old football coach, he said, listen, everywhere's screwed up. The key is to find the least screwed up of them all. And he said, good ownership wins. That was the same coach who said this. And man, when you look around, good ownership wins. And suddenly, what ends up happening, though, Sharky, there's a problem. There's a disease that goes around these people when they run teams, own teams. They suddenly let's use Robert Kraft and Jonathan Kraft. They made their money in other businesses, and they had a lot of success in those businesses. But suddenly they think because they're around football, suddenly they're the experts here too. Like the other day, I'm watching part of the Patriots game, and Jonathan Kraft's taking notes, almost like he's a head coach on the sideline when something goes wrong. Like he now fancies himself a football man, and he's probably going to go light up the head coach and the general manager after the game, saying, "What about this and what about this? I saw this." It's like, bro, go sell some more razors.
No, it's property. That's where they made all their money in, like malls.
Not razors?
No, Gillette's just a big sponsor.
Okay.
That's what I thought too. And it would have been cool if that football coach you were talking of was Kevin, the physics coach, and if it all came wrapped around like that. Hey, which is more hopeless as a team / franchise? The Giants, the Jets, the Raiders, the Cowboys, or the Browns?
Oh, man.
It's the same problem, though. It's just what you addressed. They've all got the same problem.
I feel like I just gave you a physics question.
Yeah, bad ownership. Like meddling owners.
I think that's part of it. But here's the other question is, like, we're 5 months away now from the 2025 NFL draft. This may be the worst quarterback class in terms of number of real starting potential quarterbacks.
Yes.
How many franchises did you just list there, Barney? 5 or 6? 5?
Five.
Giants don't have a quarterback. Jets don't have a quarterback. Raiders don't have a quarterback. The Cowboys have paid their quarterback too much, and the Browns want to do everything possible.
And the Browns said, "Hold my beer."
Yeah. So there's no quarterback to choose from. Your franchise is in disarray. Your owner wants to be fully involved in this entire mess. Colson Curtis, I don't know if you guys found the video of what happened outside Giant Stadium at the Meadowlands a couple of weeks ago. Did you guys see the airplane flying over the stadium with the banner that said Mara, sell the team? Like, that's the state of affairs with the other team not named Madden football rating in New York right now.
That's a classic. I love when they do that. The banner, the sponsorship flybys.
Yeah.
Because I've seen that happen before with teams. It's like, yeah.
So somebody made a decision to take their hard-earned money and spend it that way to tell the owner to sell the team. That's
you know what,
ballsy decision.
You know what's ballsy?
Better than
I
paying
think
for tickets to go watch that team.
Yeah.
You know what's ballsy? I think Patrick Mahomes trying to play this weekend.
Yeah. I honestly don't get it. Like, you're 13-1. I get you on home field, but this is your franchise quarterback too. Like, if you're the Kansas City organization, on top of everything else, like, Patrick Mahomes is your biggest investment. It feels like Mahomes has been around forever. And he kind of has, but he's only 28 years old, and he's had a history of Achilles. He's had ankle issues. Like, this is the guy that you want to go with, not only for all of January, but like a bunch of Januaries. Why would you risk this right now? High ankles are painful. High ankles can get aggravated. High ankles can lead to other issues down the road. I don't get it, fellas.
Who's their backup?
Carson Wentz.
Oh, okay. Well, serviceable.
Yeah, it's not even that bad. Why would you panic?
Give him a week.
Yeah.
Like playing the Houston Texans on Saturday. Houston Texans haven't looked good to me in a long time.
That means I'm taking them.
Bizarro world.
Oh, man.
Okay, so some Canadian football. The Rourke family, Curtis, younger brother of Nathan, is going to be very much in the spotlight with the college football playoffs. Does this move him up in the draft rankings?
I think so. I mean, you think about like Curtis's football journey. He went to Ohio, just like his brother Nathan did, of course. And then he transfers to Indiana. And what have they done? Not only are they in the CFP, but they're going to Notre Dame, Sharky. Like, they're going to one of the historic places in the playoff, standalone primetime game on Saturday night, coming out of Kansas City, playing Houston in the NFL. They go 13-1 this regular season. Their only loss was to Ohio State. They resurrect this program from the dead. There is no reason to think why Rourke can't be a mid-round pick this year. And I just, honestly, fellas, like, of course, all of us would love to see him up here north of the border. I don't think it's going to happen for a while.
I don't see him getting that opportunity. He's going to bounce around, if nothing else, and get some spots and get some different.
For a little while.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Longer you play, more people see him.
I'm really curious to see him play on the big spotlight here against Notre Dame. Again, my sample size is super small. I only watched him play half against Ohio State, and maybe we'll see. So any CFL? Okay.
Small little thing on that. I was watching their coach Kirk Cignetti on with McAfee. When they went to Ohio State, they got run out of the gym. And he said they really struggled with the silent count there. So they're not going to do that at Notre Dame. So it'll just be interesting on the road, in that kind of environment, how Curtis is going to kind of call the plays and manage the offense. That's just something to keep in mind if you're watching on Saturday night.
And they looked good that opening drive. I'm like, these guys are good. This is good. And then it was all downhill from there. Any CFL news before we let you go?
Matthew Betts, back in BC, signed a huge deal. The pass rusher from Laval. He had a cup of coffee with the Detroit Lions in training camp. Big time weapon. Like, he's not just a pass rusher. He's a defensive weapon, game changer, ratio changer, all those kinds of things. And it sounds like Mike Benavides, who used to be the head coach in BC, is going to be the defensive coordinator with Buck Pierce. So that's a smart hire by Buck to bring in a guy who's done the job before, especially in that market, just to bounce ideas off of him. Hey, how do you handle this situation? How would you approach this? Somebody who's been in that chair before to kind of have as a right-hand man.
Okay, so big on Houston and big on the Broncos. I like it. I got some bets to make.
There you go.
Thanks,
By the way, I like Curtis Rourke and the Indiana Hoosiers plus 7.5. So
you like him? Do you like him just 7.5, or do you like him to actually win the game?
I'll take the 7.5.
What about the other games?
I just think I think Ohio State's vulnerable, even though they're at home. I think Tennessee's a really good team. I always like SEC teams. Here's the other one, and I know this sounds very basic, but SMU is going into Penn State. It's going to be cold in Happy Valley, and that's a team from Dallas that's not used to those kind of conditions, used to the wind, and especially a cold football for their quarterback. Penn State can't beat elite teams, but Penn State can beat SMU.
The Pony Express going down.
Yeah.
And then they get to play the mighty Boise State team?
Broncos.
It's weird. It's weird. Really weird. All right. Have a great Christmas. Off next week. There it is.
There it is.
Curtis pulled it up. Outside MetLife Stadium.
Sell the team, the banner.
It's just sell the team. That's fantastic. Those are the kind of guys that I'd like to hang out with. Guys that
just buy an airplane to drive a banner.
No, just to get that banner up there. Those are good people, right there. Like Kevin, the physics teacher, getting a Monday Night Raw. See, you're younger than me. I was Saturday Night Main Event guy, the original stuff back in the day.
Jesse the Body Ventura to Saturday Night Main Event.
The original is Stampede on Saturday afternoon.
Oh, Muckasing.
Yeah, Muckasing. Yeah.
Oh,
Eddie Whalen.
Then some dingy. I watched the Centennial Auditorium in the base. I got this. I don't even want to go down this.
And in between time.
Yeah. And just smoking aloud everywhere.
Exactly.
These guys are out wrestling. It was crazy.
Then all got into the same van and went to the next town.
Look at that blood all over the canvas. That's all right. Arash, have a great Christmas. We will chat the week after. Stay safe and appreciate everything you do.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Have a great holiday to people on both sides of the glass.
Thanks, Arash. Cheers.
That is Coast to Coast with Arash Madani for Brian Gawley. Smart investing solutions. The college football, that if you're going to want to sprinkle, that's going to be some awesome football to watch this weekend too. Like just different. Like Arash said, he liked them covering.
Who? Penn State? He's got Penn State to win.
He liked Indiana to cover.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Ohio. That could be the game to watch. Clemson looks on paper like they're outmatched against Texas. And Penn State, MSU, don't know anything about those teams.
No.
But he brings up a good point.
I'd have to do some research.
That it's up in Penn State. And things will be a little chillier up there. Weather. And then it's the following round that just totally throws me for a loop.
Who do we got in the next four? Boise?
Boise, Georgia, Arizona State. What year is it? And Oregon, which was the number 1 ranked team.
Okay.
NFL lives at the Canadian Brew House. It's Thursday night. Your chance to win a trip to an NFL home opener of your choice. $1 off tankards of Bud Light and Bud Heavy. Details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com or stop into both locations in Regina. Take a taxi if you're going to both of them. Or Moose Jaw. You can just do a pub crawl. Hit them all
Uber.
tonight.
Uber will do it.
The Thursday night football game. The Broncos taking on
the Chargers.
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 I bet on them. The Chargers.
Yeah.
We'll take a quick break. We got Pete Anholt coming up in a bit. More on the Sports Cage Ultimate Christmas Song Bracket. And when we get back, we are going to go Clutch Performer time. It's the All New Sports Cage, streaming at sportscage.com. Welcome back to the All New Sports Cage. Barney Shynkaruk, Sharky, Curtis, and Colson on this Thursday. Clutch Performer time for our friends at Nick's Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson, Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. Call 781-1077. We had a text message come in earlier. One of the votes was from Kipling. That's where we're going, out to that area for our Clutch Performer. Zach Barrett for the KW Oil Kings last night. They dumped the top team, one of the top teams in the Big Six Hockey League, 5-4 in overtime. And also, Austin, he's the goalie. Austin Fleck, 2 goals, 2 assists. So Zach and Austin are our Clutch Performers today.
Well done. Well done, boys.
Kipling Windhorst. Is it Windhorst? Windthorst. That's the team. KW Oil Kings in the Big Six. So
used to be the Windthorst Pirates.
By Zach Barrett and Austin Fleck, a beer if you know him. The Clutch Performers for Nick's Service in Emerald Park. Your local Massey Ferguson, Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. Also, Braden Lenius signed with the BC Lions.
Yuck.
He is gunzo. BC Lions. He's got some ties to that area. He went to North Vancouver's Carson Graham Secondary School, and then he did have a little bit of University of Washington Husky time, so he knows that area. He likes that area. The story is up at sportscage.com. If you want to go check it out, you can also check out the stream and subscribe to this program as we go racing for 1,000. Quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to the general manager of Team Canada at the upcoming World Junior Hockey Championships from Nacum, Saskatchewan. Pete Anholt. It is the All New Sports Cage on the home of sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Out on the Western Pizza guest hotline, and it's almost that time for the World Junior Championships. We teased it earlier. Joining us, got to grab a few minutes of his time, Pete Anholt, manager of the World Junior team this year for Canada. Okay, so Pete, first off, I was joking with you, talking to Les Lazaruk, who you know well, on Tuesday. And I was saying to Les, well, you know, Pete's under a lot of pressure and finished last year. And Les goes, Pete wouldn't be feeling the pressure. He would be okay. It's just, and I said, well, like, do you think that it's just like Pete went out and shot 95 at Waskasiu and he's like, let's go have a pint? He's like, that's exactly what he'll be like. So now settle it. Is there some pressure there for Pete Anholt?
Well, I don't think it's just on me. You know what you do know, Barney, is that the country is watching. You understand that, and you understand the magnitude of the tournament. And it really hit me last year. It didn't really hit me until we were around Sweden there, and the number of Canadian fans that were there. And then when we were playing the Swedes that that one game, and they came out, and of course it was half Canadian, probably more than half were Canadian, and it hits you there. How important this is to the Canadians and how they follow it. So, but it doesn't change your job. It doesn't change what you have to do. You just go about it. You make decisions, and they're hard decisions. But pressure isn't really the right word. I don't think. You just feel how passionate people are, and that happens when you're with your own major junior team or you're with the World Junior team. It's just kind of the same. It's just a little bit bigger stage.
Okay, I'm going to let Les win that one then. I think Les was more correct than me. What's the one thing, if there is one thing, or the major thing that you learned going through it last year?
Preparation. I think, for whatever reason, we don't have to go through it too much, but we didn't have a summer camp. We didn't name our coaches till October. Our coaches didn't even see each other get together till we were in October having our first meeting. We were chasing it a little bit, and there was that side of it, but there was also the COVID side where the 04 group didn't have U17, didn't have U18, didn't have the same things that other years had previously, and then what this group has had this year also. So I think, Barney, really the preparation has been really key. Our summer camp was really important. Before that, though, prior to that, we've named an excellent coaching staff. This coaching staff is NHL coaching staff. It's awesome, and then having the summer camp so you can get to know some people, you can get to know kids, and then it sets you up for the fall, getting out to the rookie camps or the NHL rookie tournaments, which I always feel that those rookie tournaments are as close to the World Juniors as you're ever going to see until December. That's the level of play that you're looking at. So even though you watch them in the CHL and people say, well, gee, he's doing this, he's doing that with his team, that really doesn't really come into play in a lot of ways. Yeah, it's nice to see a guy playing well, but you're looking at a lot of different things in a person's play. It's not just this, and certainly not just stats. Stats are just one part of the thing, and the evaluation. So, yeah, I think that evaluation and preparation is probably the two things that we've got over top of last year. And I've always kind of felt bad for the coaches last year. I said to them, we kind of hung an anvil around their neck and sunk them, I think. And it's too bad. Those are good people and good coaches.
Wow, that's a great look behind the curtain. The thing is, we're going to get into all the Sasky players. It's just littered with Sask. You and I talked, late summer. It was awesome. Shout out Nacum, right? Your hometown. What does Regina's Al Murray bring to this group?
Wow. Well, experience and his knowledge of the players and how he breaks down the importance of all the different positions and he stacks the players and just his experience is really important and we had a pretty good idea what this team was going to look like in September, really. And then it was just a matter of filling in from there. We wanted to have a small camp in December, which I think that has worked out in our favor also. Al is just such a professional. How he goes about his business, and I was really lucky to be able to work with him because we thought along the same lines. I don't know if we really ever argued. We certainly discussed a lot each day. We talked probably every day for 3 months. and sometimes multiple times. So that was just, it was just a really good experience.
It's funny because, like you said, what it means in Canada, and we've all followed it. I remember watching the Stéphane Fissé and Manny Legacy as a kid, and then it being in Saskatoon. But this year, you guys, it was true to the word what you guys said. There was no freebies to make this team. Like you said, you maybe had a good idea in September, but there hasn't been a lot of times when players that played on the team didn't play the next year. But you guys were true to your word, and we're building a new team here, and there was no freebies.
We had to be better, Barney. Ultimately, we weren't good enough, and really, when you break it down, we were one goal away from getting to the semis. I mean, it wasn't as though we were terrible, but really, I felt that a lot of those players weren't ready for that stage. This is a different stage, and people don't really understand it until you're in it and you see it and you are part of it, and you listen to the coaches of how things are in the bench, and I just think that it's a stage that people don't really understand until you're in it. And that's where, some of our returning players are going to be, better for it. But they also saw that we didn't return some players from last year. And that, I think, made a serious statement to our group.
Let's go through the Sasky boys quick here. First off, named captain today, Braden Yager, a guy that you trade for. Now you got in Lethbridge. Just some quick words on what Yags means.
Real special player. I think the way he skates, the way he competes, the way he goes about his business. And I don't say this lightly in a sense. I think there's some players that really compete hard, but have, kind of have a nastiness to them, or he competes at a high level, but does it in a classy way, like a Joe Sakic, like a Steve Yzerman. And I don't say those things lightly, Barney. I think when you look at how he plays and how he competes, and now he's got a championship under his belt with Moose Jaw, having a World Junior experience under his belt, he was a natural fit for the captaincy.
A guy that played junior lobstick this year. He wasn't sure where he stood, and it was dad. Well, they weren't sure. He felt he left it all on the ice. Caden Price makes the team.
Yeah, Pricer, he's one of those guys that I've always liked. Caden, as a player. I think he's one of those guys that he's a kind of a utility knife in a lot of ways, or a Swiss Army knife, you might say. He can run a power play if you need it, but he can also be a good defender. He's got some size. He skates well. Like he's just a real all-round good player. I don't think there's one part of his game that really defines him, but I think he's just a really good all-around player.
Comes from a great family. I think he gets so much from that, knowing them. How another maybe utility guy, but up front, Prince Albert's Tanner Howe. After what happened in the summer for him, he gets a chance to go back and he makes the team. What do you say about him?
Plays in the fabric of the game. He's in the blue paint. Just all the time.
That's the Prince Albert in him, isn't it?
I would say that. Hey,
Yeah.
You know what? I've got respect for that.
Yeah.
He's just a hard player. But a good player. Like he can ramp it up at any given time too, and throw skill at you, but do it with some sandpaper, and a lot of these guys too, Barney, played for me when we were with the Helenka team a couple of years ago. So this group is, really well known to me in a sense, you might say. And he's just one of those guys that I really respect how he plays.
You talk about sandpaper. This guy's dad was sandpaper in the senior hockey circles back in the day, and he is just a phenomenal player. Everyone in Saskatchewan's heard his name. Berkeley Catton makes the team.
Yeah, this guy's special. He's his hockey sense is off the charts. Really, really plays the game at a real smart level. Like he is his hockey IQ is elite. Can play with really good players, but if you ever need him to kill penalties or play in a checking role, he could do that too, because he's so smart and his skating is so good that he keeps his body in good position. He's got a good stick, but has the ability to run a power play and or be a part of a really good power play, which we hope he is here.
That were all the Sasky guys. I got to ask you about one more guy, Gavin McKenna. So young, like not even, drafting 2 years out. He's on this club. Where do you see him fitting in? And speaking of special players, right? Yeah,
we got two of those guys. Well, you could say three with Ivakovich and Schaefer. McKenna's right there with everybody. He's just a special player. His hockey sense is off the charts. Can make plays that other guys just don't see. So you have to play him with smart players because they have to be in the right place to receive those passes and be in the right place. So yeah, he's young though. So we're careful about that on this stage. The bright lights might be too bright possibly, but you know what? Special players are special for a reason, right? They make special plays, and he's one of those guys.
More pressure if you guys maybe get into an overtime game or a downhill slider, number 2, Waskesiu in a lobstick playoff. Where's there more pressure?
Well, there's not as many people watching there. If you got the ball above the hole on number 2 and you got to run it in, you I don't know, your knees might be wobbling there.
That's where all these Sasky boys will know what you mean if you ever break the tension with that. Yeah, no, it's good. Hey, again, thanks so much. I know you're a busy guy. I really appreciate this. Really rooting for you. Just so many. So there's never been this many Sasky guys on the team. This is super special for our province. And thanks for taking some time today, Pete.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Good luck. Go get it, eh?
Thank you.
Pete Anholt, general manager of the World Junior team. Kicking things off Boxing Day. So excited. Sasky well represented. It is the All New SportsCage. We're streaming at sportscage.com. Just retweeted it on Twitter. Zach Hyman's nose and face.
Oh, that's a bad day.
Yeah, like he didn't have the smallest nose. He wasn't from Small Nose Club to begin with. Poor guy. But yeah, he's a battler. He's good.
You don't get that unless you're playing hard.
You don't get that unless you're playing hard, kids.
That's right.
Heard it
here. You got
to
to be in the rec.
From Sharky.
You got to be in the rec.
Don't forget the NFL, Canadian Brew House. They go hand in hand on Thursday night. Chance to win a trip to an NFL home opener of your choice. $1 off tankards, Bud Light, and Bud Heavy. Details at thecanadianbrewhouse.com or just stop in either location in Regina or Saskatoon. Humboldt and Assiniboia tonight, 7:30. Busy Friday and Saturday coming up in the SJHL report. We had the SJ report for Southie Mainline Chrysler. The new king of trucks in Southie, Saskatchewan. Worth the drive every time. Lots of games before Christmas here.
Lots.
We're gonna see the Dubs off.
Might as well play.
Then the SJ's like, we'll take Friday, Saturday, and go heavy. And then you said this is the last game in Assiniboia for the Red Wings.
I think so. I read today that the Wings got things fixed up and they're headed home. So, yeah.
When are we wrapping up the Christmas song bracket, Colson?
5:30.
5:30. Still time to vote. Jose Feliciano's in the final against Alan Jackson. and Let It Be Christmas. Who will be crowned Sports Cage Ultimate Christmas Song Bracket?
Come on, Alan Jackson. Come on.
Dolly Parton was robbed. Metro was robbed. So many. Yeah.
Boney M should have never been there.
What a turn of events. Boney M. When they come to the Connexus Arts Center, I'm taking you next time. We're going to go.
I am not holding your hand through a Boney M concert.
Mary's Boy Child.
Oh,
what a tune. It's the All New Sports Cage, streaming sportscage.com, as always, on the home of sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. One more hour in the books on this Thursday for Access Communications. Barney Shynkaruk, Sharky, Colson, and Haffa Curtis, as he's in holiday mode, and to his he admitted that he's mailing it in today. That's what we got. Great interview there before the news with General Manager of Team Canada, Mr. Pete Anholt, former general manager of the Waskesiu Golf Course, getting things done. We're going to continue the World Junior talk here in moments with Craig Button from TSN. In the news there, they had the story about United Airlines starting service from Regina to Denver,
Colorado
in May. So I went on and I'm like, oh, maybe there's a quick little introductory price.
Little vacation for the family? Yeah.
I could probably fly to Auckland for the same price. What a deal. Man, flying out of Regina is like the absolute.
I don't think there's a direct to Auckland.
Western Pizza tonight. Perfect night for Western Pizza. Let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Joining us, making some time for us as things are probably going to get extremely busy for him over the next couple of weeks. Craig Button from TSN. Craig, is it going to get really busy? Like, when does it start to just, you're going with your hair on fire?
Well, I don't know if my hair will be on fire, but it's already busy. We got a pre-tournament game tonight, the first one for Canada. So it gets going right here tonight. With everybody wants to get a glimpse at the team. Dave Cameron can't wait to get behind the bench and start working with the players, and that's how it's going to be right through January 5th. There's no rest for the weary. So it's fun, though. It's a thrill ride. That's what I call it. Are there some moments that are a little bit more difficult? Yeah, but it's a thrill ride all the way through.
What is this team? This tournament is so difficult now, and that's the thing is, I look back to the 90s and where it's like, it's Canada and the Soviets and maybe somebody else sprinkled in. Like, how do you explain it? You're a guy that's in it, watching it all the time. You know these players so well. The parity in this tournament now where, Canada doesn't finish in the medals and alarms are going off. It's tough to win now.
It is tough to win. When you think about the group that Canada is in with, they're in with the USA and Finland. And those three countries have won, I believe, since 2013. They're the only countries that have won the gold medal. Call it the group of death. And it's not like anything's lopsided. When Canada was winning 5 in a row in the 90s, and then they were winning 5 in a row in the early 2000s from 05 through 09. I mean, the parity wasn't the same. But it is now. And I think a big part of it is that the players and the federations are putting more emphasis on the World Junior Tournament. And Canada's led the way there. And when you think about the U20 tournament and you think about the competitive level and the resources that are put in, summer showcases, summer events, training, and everything that goes with it, it's become significant. And I think that Canada has been instrumental in the parity, being on display in this tournament. And, I don't think Canada makes any apologies for helping this tournament become a little bit, not a little bit, but more competitive and a little bit more uncertain. That might disappoint Canadian fans, but at the same time, Hockey Canada has done a great job of really, really spreading what a successful template looks like for other countries around the world.
So spinning that story and that conversation out, Craig, how would you seed this tournament, right? I mean, you talked about the group of death with Finland and the United States and Canada, but yet Sweden, the Czechs, and what's going on the other side is no gimme either. Like there's not a free ride in here unless Kazakhstan's on your board. How would you seed this tournament if you're going to do it? There's a pressure question.
There's a pressure question. When you look at it, let's just look through Canada's schedule here. I think it's great that they start against Finland. I think that's a really good test after 3 pre-tourney games to understand that you're going to be challenged in ways that are going to help you become better over the course of the tournament. I go back to the 2020 tournament in Czechia. Like Canada won their first game. They lost their second game. You thought the sky was going to fall. And after each team had played 2 games, that was the USA, Russia, and Canada at that time. They're all 1-1. Dale Hunter said to me, he said, I think if you asked every coach, they would all say the same thing, that we expected to be 1-1. Canada never lost another game. It helped them really build for the rest of the tournament en route to the gold medal, beating Russia. And I think that the Finland game, they're not going to be challenged by Germany or Latvia, but that's where coaching comes in now. Really important for the coaches to stay on task with the players, because I believe that the New Year's Eve game is a preview of the gold medal game. The 2 favorites in this tournament are Canada and the USA. The USA comes into this tournament, and they believe that they're the best team. They're not taking a backseat to anybody. And they have a team that is talented, excellent goaltending, excellent on the blue line, big and strong and competitive, and they're going to be in the tournament. So I think that's the preview of the gold medal game. Canada shouldn't have a real challenge in the quarterfinal, and then it ramps up in the semifinal and obviously the gold medal game. Sweden is a notch below, in my view, below USA and Canada. I think Finland will be the other team playing in the medal round. Slovakia is on a down turn right here, and I don't think Czechia could be, I guess, the fly in the ointment for these other teams. It'll be interesting to watch how they get their game going early in the tournament, and if they can be a threat. They'll be playing in the quarterfinal, but can they be a threat, and what will the crossover game look like for them?
I don't know if Hockey Saskatchewan is sending any stickers for them to put on their helmets, but this is kind of like, I feel like a little bit of Team Saskatchewan here. We'll get to that in a second, and especially you take in Anholt and Al Murray in it as well. But the notable omissions, Craig, for you, which is maybe the one, or is there a couple? A lot of people are talking who's not on this team. Is there one that shocked you?
It's so fascinating. I go through this every year. In Canada, there's so many talented players. I said this in the summer. So there's going to be a lot of good players not invited to the camp. There's going to be a lot of good players not make this team. And that is a good thing for Canada. And when you're playing hockey in this country, it's real simple. You select a team, and you win or you don't. And before you win, everybody's questioning if you got the right players to win. And if you don't win, we have summits. Like, what's wrong? We have a whole lot of navel gazing. Like, oh my Lord, what happened? Oh, we've lost our place in hockey, right? So it all depends how you want to form your team, and there's always different ways to look at it. Again, there's lots of talented players. If there was one area that I would look at this team, and they did it coming to the camp, and I thought they could have done a similar thing. Not that any of the players should have made the team, but I thought they could have been at camp. So they brought Andrew Crystal from Kelowna, who I think is the best power play guy in the country. And when you have 14 forwards available to you, you think about special teams, you think about the power play being a difference maker at different points, and especially in critical games. And with the extra player you're afforded, to give the coach the opportunity to decide, do I want this type of player? They brought Andrew. He didn't make the team. But I thought on the back end, having either Carter Yakimchuk, they brought Zane Parekh because Harrison Brunick got hurt. I thought both those guys should have been at the camp. And just up to Dave Cameron now. Can I use them? Can I just use, because you have 8 defensemen that you can bring now. So if you start to see that your power play isn't working, those 2 guys, Yakimchuk and Parekh, are great power play guys. That would be the only quibble that I would have. There's lots of good players that could have made this team. There's lots of good players that could have been invited. And guess what? We'll have this conversation next year, the year after, and the year after that, and the year after that. And trust me, it's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Peter Anholt, I got to tell you, Peter said to me, next year, Dave Brown, who's the manager with the Erie Otters, is taking over the U20 program. And Peter said, I'll be watching at home with my feet up, criticizing the players you could have brought.
Yeah, having a cold 016 for sure he will. Yeah.
Well, Craig, you're leading me right into my next question. What did maybe Canada do different from a selection process to get themselves out of where they finished last year in 5th place to bring in different bodies? Maybe did they stop looking at guys specific to power play or penalty kill? Maybe did they look at their whole game differently?
I hope this doesn't come across too harsh. Canada had no chance. Canada had never had a chance to win a medal last year. The 2000 born group in Canada has had very little success in international, and that was the group, the 20-year-old, the 19-year-old group that's going to make up the real body of your team. They had one returning player in the 04 group. That was Owen Beck, who was only in Halifax because of an injury replacement. So already you knew that. And yeah, it was a lucky break, or they might have been playing in the medal round. But this team was not capable of winning a medal, or I shouldn't say a gold medal. They were not a contender. They were never going to be a contender. It's disappointing, but you're going to have years like that. So what I would say is that now you get back the 2005 group, which makes up the body of 19-year-olds, the 06 group, and even the 07 group, because there's a number of 07s on. Those cohorts are all really, really good. And I think that they make up the body of this team. They will make up the body of the teams in the future. I just think the quality of talent, the depth that Canada has in these age groups affords them an opportunity to be that good. It affords you the opportunity to ask me who got snubbed. Last year, I don't know if anybody got snubbed because they took the players that were available, but it wasn't a good group. Now the players coming back, Braden Yeager, Oliver Bonk, Easton Cowan, Carson Raycroft. Tanner Molendyk made the team last year, but he got hurt and wasn't able to play. This is a good team. This is a team, like I said, that will compete for the gold medal. I just think that they have the defense is great skater and defensemen. They have all the areas covered off. They're big. They're strong. Up front, the center ice position where everything goes through is solid. And I think they can play the game any way you want. You want to play physical? Dial it up. You want to play skill? Dial it up. You want to play fast? Dial it up. Excellent goaltending, excellent on the back end. And I think this team is really, really well-rounded. They didn't have that opportunity last year with the player pool.
So, Gavin McKenna, how much do we see of him? How much do they use him? I mean, he's here as basically a late 16, early 17-year-old. Right? How much are they going to use this young fella, and what's his opportunity going to be here?
He's 17 years old tomorrow, December 20th. So I'm going to make this statement. He's the best junior hockey player in Canada. So you tell me where the best junior hockey player is going to play. I know where he's going to play. He's going to play a prominent role, just like he has in every other single event he's been at. Canada wins the U18 gold medal this past spring in Finland. He was instrumental. He in the gold medal game when Canada was down 3-1, he took the game over and 20 points. He was only 16 in that tournament. Yeah, younger than everybody by just about 2 years. And there's no question in my mind. There's no spotlight that's been too bright for Gavin McKenna. There's no pressure situation that he feels squeezed in. To me, Gavin McKenna is the best junior hockey player in Canada. And to me, that means he'll have a prominent role on this team. The only way he won't have a prominent role on this team is if he decides to wear skates that don't fit and he turns his stick over and plays with the other end.
Hey, that happened.
I don't think they're going to let him do that, Craig. I think they're going to give him more than that.
But there are senior hockey guys in Saskatchewan right now going to games that forgot their skates that are going to have to do that this evening. Okay, quickly, I want to run down the Sasky guys because you were just so dialed with all these guys, whether it's the draft, this team, anything. Let's go. Let's start with the guy that played for the Regina Pats, got dealt to Calgary. What does Tanner Howe mean to this team? Where do you see him fitting in?
He's going to play in that that energy role area. That's where Tanner has excelled when you have this depth of talent, and it's one that he embraces. You hear players say this all the time. I'll do anything. I've heard players say, I'll fill the water bottles. I tell the players, they have somebody that'll fill the water bottles. You need to bring a game that is really significant, and you need to be able to embrace the role. Tanner will embrace that energy role area.
Caden Price.
Elite skater, and this blue line is going to be a tough blue line to forecheck because they can move the puck out of the zone with their feet, with their hands, and they're excellent in transition. And now they're going to be able to keep the pressure on in the offensive zone. I don't know if Caden will have a prominent offensive role, but offense gets created by making sure you don't spend a lot of time in your own zone, and Caden's going to be really instrumental in that regard.
Captain of the team, played in Moose Jaw. Everyone around here knows him well. Braden Yager.
No surprise to me that he's the captain of this team. He leads because, and I use this term when I talk about Braden, there is nothing beneath him in the game. Whatever needs to happen, whatever is necessary, whether it be winning a faceoff, whether it be blocking a shot, whether it be standing in front of the net, whether it be taking the puck and trying to draw a penalty, score a goal, make a play, take a hit. Braden Yager embodies all of those qualities. And that's why he's the captain of this team, and that's why he'll be an instrumental part of this team.
This guy, being from Saskatoon, living in Regina, knowing his dad, just the talk about him when he was coming up, always playing up, a lot like Roger McQueen. Maddox Schultz now in Regina was Berkeley Cat. Now he gets a chance to play. I sent you a funny note about his dad as a senior hockey player. Where do you see Berkeley on this team?
Berkeley's going to be an important player on this team. Here's you sent me the note about his dad, and I was laughing because Berkeley, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Berkeley's in the guts of the action. Like wherever the guts of the action are, wherever blood is being spilled, Berkeley's in there. Berkeley's in there paying a price, and he is going to do everything. He's like Braden Yager. I believe the center ice position with Berkeley, Jet Luchenko, and Braden Yager, I mean, their IQs are all jump off the charts, but their competitiveness, their willingness to do whatever it takes to help a team win, and you're not pushing Berkeley Catton out of a game. You can play them hard. You better just play 100% against Berkeley, because every percent you play below 100%, it's a more of an advantage for Berkeley Cat.
Someone told me a story the other day when he was I think he played up Pee-wee to Bantam, and everyone back Berkeley Cat, and he went first game, got called up literally, and I said, "You don't fabricate it." They said literally, initial puck drop. I think it was at the Kinsman Arena. Got it to the left side. He went in. 15 seconds, roofed it, scored. First ever game up, Pee-wee to Bantam. And everyone was like, oh, this kid is for real. It's like the Maddox Schultz thing we're seeing right now. And you know what? It's never, I'm a 77. I followed this thing forever. There has never been 4 Saskatchewan players on this team. And then you add Nakum's Peter Anholt, and you add Almer. This thing's littered with Sasky, which is so good for Saskatchewan hockey, Craig.
It really is. And so my last question, because Peter's a good friend of mine. What were the greens like at the Waskesiu golf course? Because my understanding was that was his area of most responsibility.
Food and beverage were probably Pete's main focus. Trust me, you want to have a beer with Pete on the patio at Waskesiu Golf Course. No, that course has been in awesome shape for the last, 17 years. But they just lost their greenskeeper this year. I don't even know if Pete knows that. He's retiring, so they're going to have to find a new greenskeeper. No, but he's an absolute beauty. I know you're a busy guy. Like you said, it starts tonight. You finger on the pulse. I really appreciate you taking some time today, Craig.
Yeah, glad to have you. Glad to be part of your show. And hey, listen, with all that green wearing red in Ottawa, chances are it could turn to gold.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. There he is from TSN. Craig Button joining us on the All New SportsCage. Time for a break. You're watching the stream, sportscage.com, and as always, on the home of sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Oh, 1 minute left. The Sports Cage Ultimate Christmas Song Bracket. I know a lot of you are here for that and not the sports talk. Get in on it. Where are we at, Colson? Sports Cage. You can go to the Sports Cage on Twitter or 936-6262 Capital Ford Lincoln text line.
I don't want to give anything away until I can count the final votes, but looks like Feliz Navidad has the lead right now.
What?
Yeah. We'll have to count in the mail.
Where's our Alan Jackson people? Get in there.
Alan Jackson people, 936-6262. You mean to tell me that this guy comes out of the weirdest bracket in that Eastern Conference and he's going to win it?
First off, he should have never beat Metro.
First off, he never should have been in it. This was I set this up. I don't even know how he slid in.
You sent me.
Did I?
Feliz Navidad.
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
Yeah. With Jose.
Hey, did you turn my fireplace off? Okay.
Jose Feliciano might win this thing. That would be one of the longest shots on the board that I would have had going in.
I wonder what coolbet.co would have had on that.
700 to 1.
Still would have picked it.
Come on, Alan Jackson fans.
Come on.
Colson, extend it 2 minutes, please.
Yep.
I'm gonna text all my relatives to get in. We can't let Jose win.
No.
We let Metro lose. We can't let Alan Jackson lose. Hockey around the SJHL this evening. Humboldt and Assiniboia, 7:30. Busy day Friday and Saturday in the SJ Western Hockey League. They're off. Calgary dumped PA last night. Pats are back in action on the 27th. They're back at home on the 28th. AAA Midget U18, call it what you want. Games tomorrow. Swift Current coming to the Cooperator Center for 2 games.
Friday, Saturday.
Against the Regina Pat Canadians, and they are tight in the standings. That's good value for your entertainment dollars right
Better
there.
than good value. That's where you want to be.
Yes.
Friday, Saturday night.
Hopefully they'll have the bar and concession open because you never know at that facility.
It's a long shot.
But the hockey is fantastic. The female
Ring a bump.
AAA Rebels, they have games on the weekend. For some reason, right before Christmas, they're going to Prince Albert. Like I joked earlier, I'm not sure if it's because the Gateway Mall is a Christmas shopping mecca up there.
Ice fishing team building group going on?
You got to drive a bit to go ice fishing up there.
Yeah, you do, don't you? Yeah.
Like I could see if they're going to play in Nipawin.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, they're in PA. They're in Paradise for games this weekend. No games in the Junior B Prairie Junior Hockey League Saturday. We have pre-Christmas affair, Capitals and Pilot Butte. Might as well touch on that a little bit more.
I want to give a shout out to the town of Assiniboia for accepting, adopting, and loving the Weyburn Red Wings as they move to town. Got billets for the players, got places for the coaches to stay.
Well, no, that was a hotel.
There was a hotel.
Cody was at the hotel.
He was at the hotel, but they made an effort. They welcomed him in and took him in, and way to go, Assiniboia. Way to show that Saskatchewan spirit.
Very, very, very cool. Bravo to you. I got to get to that rink in Assiniboia.
We do.
And I joked with Cody last Friday. I'm like, I bet you would have wish you would have went to a billet because it was after so long in a hotel. The bagged eggs in the morning and the continental breakfast sausages.
It's not good.
No, you want some of that home cooked meal. Look at this. See what's happening, Colson, on the Capital Ford Lincoln text line? The Alan Jackson. They're rising up.
Alan Jackson, we need some votes.
Dan.
Got a minute and a half left.
Came in with Alan Jackson. Kevin. Both of those longtime supporters of the Sports Cage. Give me a vote for Alan Jackson and 2 votes for Craig's hair. He's watching the stream.
Well, that was quite a do, wasn't it?
Craig's got awesome salad.
Oh. You know what?
He's throwing a party.
I would love some salad.
We got another. Who else we got here? Smiley Hutterite Colony votes Alan Jackson.
Thank you, Smiley.
That one was from Roscoe.
Yeah, I know. But he is trying to. I know what he's trying to do. You should have went Simi. You should have went Simi Hutterite Colony.
Where's Smiley?
There is a Hutterite Colony around Simi. I think they listen to the show too. And then another no name.
It's on in the pig barn.
Alan Jackson. Looks like it's coming from Saskatoon. A 2-2-1 number. So that might get him over the hump. As soon as he's over the hump, end it. How about that for a rig? Can we at least rig that part of it?
They may not have stole the cart to make the Zamboni and Boulier, but let's rig the music choices here.
One of the parents from the AAA Rebels team, who's from Prince Albert, he's done a lot of shopping in the Gateway Mall. Probably still has some gift cards to use. He said they're playing in Paradise because it's on the way to Elk Ridge for Christmas.
They're taking the kids to Elk Ridge?
I don't know.
I don't know
what he means. But
or that where he's going and he doesn't mind.
Yeah, maybe. It's a great spot up there in the
beautiful.
winter.
It's great all year round.
Frank Topinka, Alan Jackson.
Love it.
There we go. See, coming in fast. I think Alan's gonna pull it out now. Unless there's something crazy happening on the social.
You know what? The people just thought that Alan was going to run away with it, and they didn't think they had to put their votes in. I like that you're coming out to the table, getting your stuff together. That's good work, people. Love it.
Sign me up for one Feliz Navidad.
You don't count because you're mailing
not
it
here.
in today.
You're on vacation.
Yeah.
Nobody counts
Sorry.
you anymore. You're not here.
You've been capital useless today. You're that fourth liner that all we wanted was 3 minutes out of you today.
Just a little chip and chase, get it deep, and come off.
He can't wait to get to Berta for the holidays.
Drive to the net and run into the goalie, take a penalty.
And he's betting on coolbet.co as well, and he put it all on Canada to win the gold medal. That's actually not a bad bet.
It's not a bad bet.
And it makes everything very exciting.
Yeah, you got skin in the game now. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's going to be so fun to watch.
The United States is going to be good. Regina-born former Riders receiver Braden Lenius has signed with the BC Lions. It's all up on sportscage.com. He missed.
Didn't he spend most of the year on the injured list?
He was, yeah. So
BC just bought a Band-Aid.
Guys can get hurt and come back.
No, gone.
You're just disgruntled. Like, yeah, as soon as
I'm like one of those cranky old Muppet guys.
you are,
Yeah.
Curtis called you you're like his uncle. You're the fun uncle.
I'm the fun uncle.
I'd say Sharky was like a cool uncle, you know? There's a difference.
I'm the uncle that brings the extra bottle of wine at Christmas. That's
exactly.
What I am. Yeah.
Not like the one that's kind of like creepy, you know?
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also at sportscage.com.
Checkers.
If you go
Let's
on
play
there,
checkers.
You check on the hockey side. The SJHL power rankings are still up there. We said SJHL report is on Tuesdays with Benny Walchuk for Southie Mainline Chrysler, the new king of trucks in Southie, Saskatchewan. Right now, over $13,000 off select 2024 Ram 1500s, 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokees. And on top of that, offering $10,000 cash back.
Wow. It's almost like they're giving you a truck.
Yeah, they like to support their SJHL and minor hockey, the whole mainline group. So I was looking at the SJ and the power rankings. Melfort. I wonder if they stay there all year.
It's a challenge, first off, to stay there all year, but they do have the club, and they are playing in a way that's going to make them tough to beat all the way through their lineup. So they got a chance. I
was talking to the commissioner of the league, Kyle McIntyre, the other day, and one of the fine gentlemen from Great Western Brewing. They really want us to go to Flin Flon with them when they do their trip to Flin Flon and do the sports cage from there. And I am all in the technicians on the side, but they said they do the SJHL live game from there.
Okay.
No problems asked. So I don't know about internet feed and all
Do
that.
we have a date for this?
We looked at the schedule. There's a possibility of a first round playoff matchup. So early April, I think.
Okay. So it's like we're doing two shows back to back?
What?
Like,
why would we do that? We just go up on a Friday or something. If they played on a Friday.
And then we do this. Yeah, there's no Saturday show.
There's no Saturday show, Sharky.
Okay.
Unless there's one that I don't know. Unless it's like a speakeasy. You got to find it somewhere. I don't know.
There's got to be one in Flin Flon.
A speakeasy?
Yeah.
No, there isn't. It's just the bar. Where is the bar? Right there. We're not hiding it from you. It's right there.
It's got the big sign.
BAR.
Licensed beverage room.
Yeah.
One of my favorite places.
Probably a Molson Dry sign hanging in the window.
Won't even be dusty.
So yeah, we could go do that. SJHL. I'm really curious on the SJ how it's going to all play out this year, and some teams have lost some guys. And do you have a U of R report?
I do.
Okay,
let's take a little story.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, Uncle Sharky is going to have a story and the U of R report. It is the All New SportsCage on the home of the U of R Rams, 620 CKRM. We are going to reveal the winner of the bracket challenge momentarily. Colson is tabulating all the votes.
He's got his crayons out. He's doing the work.
Even the rigged ones. So we'll get to that in a second. U of R. What's that? U of R report. Unsponsored. If you're watching the stream, our friend Uncle Sharky has a nice U of R Cougars.
Yep. Got my toque on.
Also known as a wool hat for you that aren't from this area.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Fire away. What's up?
Well, you know what? They're off. Everybody's off right now. Right?
That's the report.
No. No, we missed the hockey last weekend. Both teams played Manitoba.
Screenshot this, like with the toque on and the fire in the background.
Oh, yeah,
it looks
just
legit.
Beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Majestic.
Yeah, keep that as my mugshot. Women hosted Manitoba. Men went to Manitoba. Both teams are chasing those in the playoff standings. Both lost Friday and both recovered and won Saturday. The men won 5-3. Women won 4-1. So women stay ahead of Manitoba for second place and home ice in the playoffs. Nobody starts again till the January 10th weekend when men's and women's hockey share U of S back and forth.
That week, that New Year's Eve week, which is all weird, and then there's New Year's Day, and we're doing a show. We should talk to somebody. I'll effort it, and we'll get somebody when they used to have the Chill Out tournament in Saskatoon, the university hockey tournament.
Yeah. That was like 1990s. 90, 91, 92, something like that.
Chill Out tournament. It was great.
Yeah.
They used to bring an American team up.
Yep. Cougs were number 1 in the country that year when they went and played at it.
Wow. Chikai. Are you sure? Were you in the sauce?
No, I was not in the sauce. That'd be 91.
Who was all on that team?
That was the Cote Hutchings, McKechnie, Len Nielsen, Rob Harvey era, right? Rod Hauk. No. Lumby and Craig Lombard and Todd Hollinger were the stoppers.
See, I don't remember Regina being a wagon in the...
They were. Early 90s till about 97, and then the wheels fell off after Kevin Dickey left us high and dry.
Okay, Colson. Speaking of wheels falling off.
Yeah.
It is the end of the Sports Cage Ultimate Christmas Song Bracket. Everybody who voted on Twitter, on the text line, it's been a lot of fun. What do we got?
Come on, Colson. Be good to us.
Drum roll.
Oh, hold on. Let me find my drum roll.
Oh, Curtis.
Thanks, Curtis. 51% of the vote.
Oh, no.
Again, a difference of 1 vote. Let it be Christmas.
Yay!
Alan Jackson.
Hey, nice
out.
comeback. Come to your senses.
Hey, way to go, team. Way to go. Like it.
Alan Jackson. We can't play it because we're on YouTube, and then we'll get flagged, and we'll get kicked off, and we'll go to YouTube jail. Well, basically, Curtis will be the only one. Yeah. Probation. But it's a good tune. It's a good little Christmas song. You can go download it, listen to it. Alan Jackson, Let It Be Christmas, wins the Sports Cage Ultimate Christmas Song Bracket. There it is.
A controversial bracket, nonetheless. Yes.
It had a little bit of everything.
It really did. Upsets, come from behinds. Yeah.
So many jokes. Dolly Parton just barely lost yesterday. Metro will always remember the first round exit of Metro. What else do we remember around this?
Doug and Bob McKenzie weren't in it.
Maybe next year. Oh, and then we have had a number of people that said next year that the Australian song, 12 Boomers? Boomers?
White Bloomers. 12 White Bloomers. Yeah.
Boomers, not Bloomers.
It's Bloomers.
No, it isn't. Here we go again.
All right.
Eric Lindros's first ever World Juniors are in Saskatoon.
It's White Bloomers.
Is it?
Yeah.
Nope. Colson, I need you on this.
Cool. Am I wrong again? I'm 0 for 3 today.
6 White Boomers.
Oh, man.
So first off, you're wrong on the number. It's 6. Second, you added an L.
So I have a hearing and a speech problem.
Yes.
And vision.
It's all right.
Man.
You got a week to regroup before we come back.
We're having a show on Boxing Day?
No show Boxing Day.
Okay.
You know what's... We're going to have the senior hockey report tomorrow for coolbet.co and Future Ford in Melville. It's the rivalry games are starting to come up.
It is. It's the New Year's Eve or New Year's Day game and
before Christmas.
Yeah.
Bethune and Lumsden used to always be a lot of fun. Played in that one.
Southie Cupar. That was a big one. That was a great one in the time.
They had the teddy bear toss in Raymore last Saturday. This and that, the store in Raymore donated 100 bears. There's video on the Monday Nooner feed, and I think I retweeted one to the Sports Cage. Great atmosphere. They did one in the Big Six, and in those two towns. Then the rematch is this Saturday in Southie.
Nice.
So we need, you know what they need to get, and Cupar's in the other league, but there's like that triangle of rivalry.
Oh, it was a great rivalry. The one of the best years Cupar had is the year Southie's rink burnt down. and their guys came over to play in QPAR. That was it was a great year to coach there. A lot of great guys.
A lot of great rivalry games. One of the best ones I played in ever was Cabry Abbey.
That would be huge. The only one I know that's bigger is Morse and Herbert. Morse would play Herbert.
Oh, Lanigan Drake. At Watrous has been, there's a number in the Delisle. See, I want to say like your Lorburn Conquest used to be in. I'm sure there was teams.
Central Butte. No, that's too far.
Too far, yeah.
Too far.
But there's a lot of close towns. Sask Valley. You could have Kenniston Davidson, but they're just
Rostern. Who?
Hague.
Yeah.
Or Beardies.
Yeah.
Rostern Beardies. Yeah, no, there's it's fun around that. And like we said, Swift Current, Pat Canadians starting tomorrow at the Cooperator Center, 7:45. And then as you said, they're also doing it on Saturday.
Hey, I got one right. It's a big day. Big day. I got something right. Ofer till that point.
Have you seen the standings in the AAA loop recently?
Not recently. Not today.
So Moose Jaw
went ahead of the Pat
C's when they won here. So they're 2 points up. And I think it's just Moose Jaw and the Pat C's going to the Max tournament.
I believe so, yes.
Also known as the Circle K, but we're always calling it the Max tournament.
Do we call the midget championship the Wrigley?
I don't remember.
The Air Canada?
Air Canada Cup.
You're a little young for the Wrigley.
Remember the Air Canada Cup?
Yeah.
Curtis Markowicz was the captain of the Pat Canadians, and they won that thing.
That's right.
I learned that when I moved here. And then, so Moose Jaw's 42 points, 26 games played. Regina Pat Canadians, 26 games played, 40. And the Swift Current Legionnaires are just 2 points back. So as of tomorrow night, we could see a tie. It's the old 4-point game adage.
Shh. Well, with 2, she's an 8-point weekend.
It is.
Yeah.
Then
who's in fourth?
Tisdale Trojans, the land of rape and honey.
They don't call it that anymore.
I have the commercial.
I know. I'm not saying they didn't. I'm just saying they don't call it anymore.
Nope. And then the City of Northern Lights. They used to run the commercials back to when I was a kid, and like people still used to watch cable TV. It was like back and forth. It's like, oh, Melford and Tisdale are competing again. Somebody got an ad buy from that area. The Saskatoon.
Somebody made a move.
Saskatoon Blazers are kind of right in the middle. Notre Dame's having a tough year.
They are.
Yorkton, they're young. Yorkton's really young. Contact's having a tough year. Estevan's there. They're battling.
Yet Yorkton went in and took 2 points from Swift Current this week. So
they did a home and home.
Yeah.
Or they're not a home and home. They did the 2 games.
The 2 games, yeah. Good for them.
As well. Then the Western Hockey League. Western Hockey League reports for Extreme Hockey and Sport. You can hear it on Mondays here. They're giving back with their 12 days of giveaways. I was just in there today dropping cash before Christmas.
You got 2 kids playing.
Nothing says I need to buy hockey sticks right before Christmas. Like, come
They're
on.
always on sale now, too. Yeah.
Actually, they got some good deals on there right now. But so Medicine Hat has moved up, and now in the Eastern Conference, 1 point up in the Saskatoon Blades. Had Les Lazaruk on.
I heard that. Great interview, by the way. Great conversation.
You just wind him up and let him go.
Yeah.
Les is a beauty. But they got to sell. They got Lazowski and obviously Molendijk.
Yep.
He did mention a couple others maybe that teams would want, but they need to get some.
They need to get some
assets back.
Yeah, they're a little shy.
So draft picks and assets. And then the Regina Pats are back in action on the 28th at home. They played 27th on the road. It's them and Moose Jaw at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. And then everyone's like, the race for Maddox Schultz. Who gets the picks? Who gets the picks? So the way I understand it, it's either going to be Edmonton.
That gets the first pick.
Edmonton or Regina.
But it's in the, what do you call it? It's a raffle.
Ball?
It's a raffle.
I don't know if raffle's right.
Lottery. There you go. It's a lottery.
The old Sharky, the Western Hockey League raffle. It's like it's a kinsman at the exhibition. They're selling tickets for a car.
Come on, win a prize. Here we go.
But yeah, Edmonton and Regina, it was actually sent to me by an unnamed source that you can have you can only move up a maximum of 2 spots as well. So 20th, 21st, 22nd have a shot at the first overall pick in the league. Finish last, you get 12 balls to win or retain first overall pick. Regina has their pick still. Edmonton has Moose Jaws.
Yep.
And Seattle's. And Seattle is in the basement of the Western. So it's Edmonton has the best odds to have the first overall.
At this point.
Well, I don't think Seattle's really going anywhere. And Moose Jaw's
already made their deals. They got young. And so is Regina. Regina's got young. Even if they don't get Maddox Schultz, they're going to have like 4 picks or 9 picks in the first 2 rounds. Like, it's ridiculous what Alan Miller has stocked up for this year for picks. So he's going to have himself a bandwagon of a team in a couple of years.
You want that. You want the local boy. Well, even if they don't get, you got to somehow get that pick. So the other thing, I don't know if Maddox is going to do the exceptional status. I think he's going to do this new roster.
The 34-game
roster composition changes that they came out with. That. And it's since he's played up already, he can play 34 games in the Western Hockey League, and it might even be more because of injuries and stuff with the players. You might be able to play more. I got to get total confirmation on that. But I think he does that and either plays AAA or if he has to move away, maybe academy somewhere.
I can see as the AAA year goes on and how he finishes up, what that is probably going to affect the decision more than anything. If he ends up winning the league scoring race by a huge bunch,
we got to declare it, I think, right in January here.
Do they?
I think they might just ride out the 34-game thing.
Doesn't hurt him.
Oh, no.
Not at all.
Come back next year.
Yeah. As a 16-year-old.
For $10, you can watch him play hockey tomorrow.
Yeah.
At the Cooperator Center.
Because it's going to cost you a lot more very soon.
Well, especially if he's with the Pats.
And if he's in Edmonton, you're not going to get to go see him. So
watch him on the stream.
Yep.
As they say. Yeah, no. So lots going on.
So the kids are watching.
Hockey-wise. Senior last night, we mentioned, and we got the report coming up tomorrow. Foam Lake, a scare from the Lanigan Pirates. 6-5. Foam Lake came back and won that one. Wadena was 5-2 over Leroy. Let's take a quick break. A little hockey rundown there for you. You are watching the stream at sportscage.com, and we are on 620 CKRM. You know, we were going to talk to Arash about this. It's funny how the NFL is just the bully.
Oh, they are. They're totally the bully.
Hey, guess what, NBA? We are playing on Christmas Day.
So do whatever you want to do, but nobody will be there.
And you nothing you can do about it.
We have no TV, no entertainment.
Not one thing.
Yeah.
We own everything. Tonight, Denver, Los Angeles. Did you place a wager on that? Coolbet.co guy?
Yeah, Denver.
So we're against each other.
Yeah.
See, it moved to 3. I got it at 2.5. Go Chargers. Harbaugh. He's
I'm just betting against whatever Arash tells us to do. That's what I'm doing.
Harbaugh's a weird duck.
He's a different cat, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's out there.
Yeah.
That's going on tonight. A lot of hockey games, too. Once I get to up north there, I might take in some of these late ones. Oilers are home to Boston. Oilers favorite there. I can't figure that team out. Vegas is
the
home.
Oilers or the Bruins?
The Oilers. Vegas is home to the Vancouver Canucks. Sharks, Colorado, another late one. Calgary is home to the Ottawa Senators.
What the Rangers treating that young guy, Kakinen? Like,
there's a team I can't figure out either.
Well,
and they're good. Like, the Rangers have good players on their team.
They do, and Chris Drury, like, he couldn't organize a fight in a liquor store, drunken liquor store. Like, he's terrible. Like, what's he doing?
This is the first year that he's kind of been a little weird. It's happened. Everything's cyclical.
Look at Peter Laviolette. Tell me the time he coached a team for the 3rd year. He's a 2-year guy. This is the end of year 2.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. Peter Laviolette will be done.
Okay, have a good Christmas, buddy.
I'm looking forward to it. A little time off, a little relaxing. Yeah.
Anything special planned?
No, it's me and the missus. Yeah.
You and the missus?
Seafood Christmas.
Curtis, we know what you're doing. You're going to Berta.
Yeah. You can't drive away fast enough
today. Colson, what are you doing? Just hanging around?
Yeah, my parents and the in-laws live in the city, so all in the city for us.
Isn't it like 60 people you're getting together with for Christmas? Isn't it?
I got one of those families.
Yeah.
Well, ours is pretty large up north, too.
Not this year. Last year was that side of the family. This year is everyone splitting off to the towns. And the other sides are.
Yeah.
Divide and conquer.
Yep, that's the plan.
All right.
Hey, if you're traveling, guys, be safe.
That's me right now.
That's right.
Maz is in tomorrow. He's got some good stuff coming up on the show. Colson will be here, and the sheriff, Alan. Odds that Alan wears a Santa hat.
Oh, it's better than 50.
No, he won't. No.
Alan, come on.
Seems like he'd be in the Festivus. Kind of a...
What do you think? He's going to bring a steel pole in?
Yeah. Feats of strength.
Alan's going to have
feats of strength.
He's going to have a Santa
Let's go. They're back tomorrow. Thanks so much for listening, watching the stream at sportscage.com. We will talk to you in a week.
Merry Christmas, everyone.